All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is Hour One. Schaefer and Sliwa after that long Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully everyone had a good, safe holiday. Great to be back with you for the remainder of the weekend. You're ready for some Phillies and Padres coming up tonight. Tom McCarthy, longtime Phillies television voice, is going to join us, Alan.
Let's go, Tom.
At 3:30. And then at 4:30, Darren Smith on SDFC at this break point. Knickerbockers his Knicks are in the NBA Finals for the first time this century.
This guy's got to be feeling a certain way.
No doubt. So Darren will join us at 4:30. We also, Alan, to kick off this week, and I'm putting the question in your hands. I'm putting serious pressure on you right now. All right? Because you've got the
saying hi to YouTube. You keep looking
at
Talkback. Saying hi to YouTube.
What's up, YouTube?
Yeah.
You have the Talkback question. Okay, because if you use the Talkback mic today, you're entered automatically to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. But I'm putting like the ball in your court on the spot. We touched on this like 4 hours ago, and then we forgot to talk about it before the show. So the ball is in your court in terms of the Talkback question of the day.
Should I go 3 of them or 2 of them? Do you want all 3 of them on there?
Go all 3.
Go all 3?
Go all 3. Okay. This is for the San Diego County Fair. We're giving away the tickets today, though, Alan, this hour, because we have another giveaway we'll share with you next hour.
Okay.
So this is the giveaway, but you got to use the Talkback mic this hour.
All right. Here's a question we're throwing out there. John will walk us through of how to use it. And if you were listening last week, we took a lot of these talkbacks, and it was great to have. Let everybody have an opinion on certain topics. Who's been most disappointing and why?
Oh, I like that.
Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, or Jackson Merrill. You pick whichever of these 3 guys that have been really bad so far this year. And listen, Tatis is going to have some moments. Actually had a pretty decent couple of games, but every hit he has is going 184 feet. Machado, I don't need to tell you his story. Machado threw himself under the bus more than I've ever seen anybody else throw themselves under the bus. So I give Machado some credit in that from that perspective. And then the one that's kind of been really quiet, Jackson Merrill, how much he's struggling because Machado and Tatis have been so bad this year that there has not been a lot of conversation about Jackson Merrill. So our talk back today is who's been most disappointing between those 3 players. You guys go with it wherever you guys want to go.
All right, you got to get them in right now because we're going to announce a winner this hour. Open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click the red microphone icon, and tell us which of those players has been most disappointing and why for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. All right, on cue, I'm with you. When I saw the quote, I'm like, who said this about Manny? Well, it turns out it was a mea culpa. It was Manny saying it about Manny. The direct quote is, it doesn't help that your star player leaves 6 on base. There goes the game. I don't think it's anybody else. So Manny Machado yesterday, we talked about this before the show, Alan. What are the odds? Truly, what are the odds that you load the bases in the first inning with nobody out for your cleanup batter? That's how it works, obviously, loading the bases with nobody out. And not only do you not score in the inning, you don't score in the game.
Unbelievable.
Kevin went on to detail that 80% of the time loading the bases with nobody out in the major leagues results in at least a run. And not only did they not score in the inning, they don't score in the game. The Machado slump deepens as we're now 1/3 of the way through the season.
Machado batting 170 so far this year. Goes through some other, individual statistics for him. All the worst numbers he's ever had through 51 games in his 15 seasons as a Major League Baseball player. So he's, obviously breaking, unfortunately, the worst side of his records. His batting average ranks 166th out of 170 qualifying MLB hitters. His on-base percentage is 163rd. His slug percentage is 145th. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's so weird watching and I think these last 4 games are honestly just such a great example of the Padres season. Last time we did a show was on Friday. They had 2 more. No, they had the entire A series. So they played the 3-game set against the A's. We don't work yesterday. Everybody off, obviously, for Memorial Day. And they play the Phillies yesterday and they lose. It's like you watch some of these games. The game they won on Saturday had to have been one of the most confusing. I'm looking every time, I'm obviously watching the entire game. Like, how the hell are they winning? Like, looking at the A's, I'm like, A's, how are you losing this game? They won 2-0. They had 2 hits.
2 hits in the game, a single and a double.
Okay, follow that up with the next game. Just thinking off the top of my head here, what did they end up losing? Listen, it's clear that their scoring has been just so atrocious, and nobody really knows what the issue and the problem is. But that's been the Padres all season. So part of me is like, why should I be surprised that they have games the way they do, that they have moments? Maybe you just kind of find new lows. The game, so I mentioned they win the game on Saturday 2-0. They lose, they score 2 runs on Sunday. Yesterday, they don't score a run. In their last 3 games, they have a total of 2 runs.
And here's the other thing. Not just that. That's bad enough. That's awful.
Scored 5 runs in the 3-game set against the Dodgers.
That's not good either. But here is the other thing that is so damning is they're the most unclutch team, except when they're clutch in the 9th inning. They've had these amazing clutch moments. Nick Castellanos and Gavin Sheets come to mind, right? A few times so far this year, even in May. But yesterday, Alan, they're 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. The game before that, 0 for 7 or 0 for 8. The game before that, 0 for 7. 0 for the last 24, 0 for the last 25, 2 for the last 36. Like, it just, we've said a couple of times, I think, over the course of the first third of the season, well, the offense isn't going to get worse than this, is it? And then they're finding new ways to get worse, either individually, guys like Machado, Merrill, Tatis, although I'm with you, I thought Tatis had a good weekend. But then collectively, where they're not scoring runs and they're not hitting with runners in scoring position, yet they're 31-22 and 9 games over 500. How do you explain it?
But here's the thing: we've been probably saying this for the last month or so. I don't think anybody understands, and I'm going to give them credit because every time we think, I mean, look, they took 2 or 3 from the A's, so give them all the credit in the world. How the hell they got there? Yes, it's ugly. Yes, you kind of you continue to ask that question: is it sustainable? The answer is no. I don't think it's going to be sustainable. They lose yesterday to Philadelphia, and I thought the loss again. It's the chance to kind of put an imprint on the series early on. You're going up against Philadelphia. You know the Phillies are whether don't pay attention to their record, pay attention to what they've done since they fired their manager.
Definitely.
But just not taking advantage of opportunities. It doesn't. Nobody's asking for 7-8 runs a game. You're not going to get it. But nobody out in the first inning and the bases loaded. Manny also came up with a runner with the bases loaded again. I want to say in the 3rd inning, grounded out to a double play. And it's not just Manny Machado. You've seen plenty of guys just not taking advantage. But you said something there towards the end. What we always have to stop. They win tonight. They're 10 games over 500.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what is this? We're going to continue to have the same conversation. We know that they can't truly make noise unless their stars show up. They're 9 games over 500 right now. Randy Vasquez on the mound tonight. Hopefully a good opportunity for them to try to get this win because we know tomorrow's going to be very difficult. Christopher Sanchez tomorrow, which is why obviously that's going to be a tough game for them. But nothing really changed over the weekend. This is who they are. This is who they've been, at least through almost a third of the season. Yeah,
it's almost like they're just digging themselves even more into who they are over the course of the last 4 days. Like, you can't not ask this question. Like Craig Stammen yesterday, Brian, if we can pull up the sound of Stammen talking about the offense, his assessment of the offense. It's all anyone wants to talk about because the offense just has consistently underperformed 1/3 of the way through the season. Here was Craig Stammen after the shutout loss yesterday.
What is your overall assessment of the offense?
My overall assessment of the offense? Well, we're not as good as we expected right now. We haven't been scoring as many runs as we've come accustomed to with this type of players in the lineup. They know it. We know it. The whole world knows it. We keep talking about it every day. We keep trying new things and new ideas, and we keep working our tails off. And that's one thing that these guys have done over the course of the season is they have worked their butt off, and they have worked on the little things, and that's how we've won so many games. They've found a way to be great at the little things that have helped us win games, win close games. Eventually we're going to break through and we're going to have, these guys hitting on all cylinders. Right now is not when it's happening, but hopefully soon.
What's the concern level when it's been a third of the season though? Like at this point, that's a pretty large sample size.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next 2/3 of the season. It's going to be great.
No real explanation though. They're working on it. Eventually it'll turn. Will it eventually turn?
It's interesting. It's like listening to that. If you'd have played that a month ago, and by the way, I got no issue with Craig Stammen. I think most people will feel like he's done a pretty good job so far as the Padres manager. Clearly, this man doesn't have the answer.
Right.
And I don't know if anybody does. I think this will eventually just have to be up to these individuals to figure it out. They're talented enough. They obviously get paid what they get paid. The problem is if I took that Craig Stammen, if we take that interview and we say that aired a month ago, it would apply.
Yeah, 6 weeks ago, 4 weeks
2
ago,
weeks
2 weeks
ago,
ago.
it applies.
Yeah.
So nothing has changed. And I don't know what's going to change, and I'm not sure. I mean, listen, I love his positivity on it, the whole thing, but at the end of the day, like, it's a results-driven business. And, unfortunately and fortunately for these Major League Baseball players, and there's a way to justify it, they are human beings that just happen to have a lot bigger checks every 2 weeks that come directly into their bank account.
Right.
But there's a piece of me that's like, there's really nothing left to say for anybody. I like, we could look at that Machado quote, because I do think that quote, I like the way Machado talked about, that's what leaders do. Leaders kind of do put it on their back. So I do like that. But what is Craig Stammen going to say that's going to make you feel like, oh, okay, wait a minute here. Maybe something's clicking. If you told me a month ago, I'd be like, all right, these guys are just in a little bit of a slump. But a month later, it's really, really difficult to think that anything Craig Stammen just said will apply. He is looking forward to the 2/3. He is saying they're working really, really hard. He is saying they're taking so many at-bats, this and that. At the end of the day, it's just going to come down to results. Everyone will shut up once there's a little bit of results.
Have you heard the saying in parenting, this too shall pass?
Yeah.
About having like a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old. And like, there's these phases of time, like a baby is teething, or my child won't stop whining, or he doesn't sleep through the night. But oftentimes it does pass. When you think you're in like the worst of it, eventually there's something else. But as a parent of a 7-year-old, I don't remember ever saying to my wife for 8 straight weeks, this too shall pass. It would always actually pass within a couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks. But the Padres are like, if this is this too shall pass, man, this is a long time to be dealing with it. As in, I kind of agree with Dennis Lynn's line of questioning, which is like, well, isn't there enough evidence to suggest this is who you are, as opposed to the glass half full way to look at it, which Craig Stammen positioned it? Well, we still have 2/3 of the season remaining, but it's like 1/3. It's not football where it's like Mahomes has had 5 games and there's 5 games, but this is 50 something games.
It's very odd. And maybe that's something that we're just all going to have a little bit of a realization on. I mean, I almost can't, because the problem is if their team was struggling,
right,
but the name guys were doing their job, then you would just say, okay, maybe this is who they are. Tatis is going to have X amount of home runs. Machado's going to have X amount of home runs. Their slug's going to be here, but everybody else collectively is so bad that maybe this is what it is. The problem to say, well, why would it change the final 2/3 of the season? Because is Machado really going to bat 170? Is Tatis literally going to have no home runs as we sit here on May 26th by June 26th? Like, is that possible that Jackson Merrill is going to be this bad as well? Let me go down the list, because there's plenty of players we didn't. Fermin, have you looked at Fermin's averages? Have you looked at what Xander has done in the last 30 days? Like, there's a part of me that I get if some players struggle, but I have to imagine that Machado's not going to be a 170, 180 guy, and Tatis is going to freaking hit some home runs as the season progresses.
Although, of course, we did say this April 26th, but now it's May 26th. By the way, there's a team the Padres need to worry about that is not the LA Dodgers. And we'll discuss that as well on the other side. And Tom McCarthy, longtime Phillies TV voice, will join us at 3:30. Get your talkbacks in. We're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair here on Schaefer and Sliwa. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
I like those stories. People are raising their families right here in San Diego.
What do I hear? I hear your computer.
All right. America is turning 250 years old, and San Diego Sports 760 is celebrating with $250,000 in cash starting Monday. Listen for your chance to win $2,500 so you can take the ultimate American getaway and visit the states, cities, landmarks, and national parks that make our country amazing. Win your share of $250,000. Just listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com starting Monday at 8 a.m. Phenomenal. It's awesome.
Do you know what day America turns 250?
Yes.
What day?
What day?
Right?
Steve Hartman's birthday.
July 4th.
Yes.
You knew America's birthday.
Independence
I like
Day.
that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So July 4th, America turns 250.
But what were you trying to get to? I felt like you were trying to
Well, there's a couple.
I thought you were going to be like, well, no, technically it's June 27th.
Well,
that's kind of thought the angle you were going with.
I think that the thing was actually technical July 2nd.
There we go.
I'm serious.
I thought you
and
had
then there was
technical.
the official first reading of the Declaration was July 8th.
Okay.
But they actually celebrated on July 4th. I don't know why. I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure July 4th was significant in this. But July 4th is going to, this year in America, but I don't know how we got here. Tom McCarthy's going to join us at 3:30
because
of your read.
The giveaway.
But think about this. 250th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the World Cup. That's really all. That's what you got this summer in America.
I'll
like,
tell
you see the 250th anniversary of the country is like some massive celebration this July?
Yeah, I think it will be.
I think it's a big celebration, right?
It is.
Because we're not going to be around for the 300th. I mean, we might be.
We very well
older.
could be based on, I'm putting all my eggs in the AI basket. I'm thinking we're going,
okay.
I want to be here for 350.
All right. Yeah. All right. We may be. Tom McCarthy's going to join us at 3:30. Get your talkbacks in right now if you want to qualify to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. The question we're asking you this afternoon is who has been the most disappointing and why among Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, and Fernando Tatis Jr. If you want to weigh in on that, open the app, search for 760, click the red talkback microphone. Do we have some talkbacks we can play? We'll play them throughout the course of this hour. We'll announce a winner coming up by 4 p.m. What do you have?
Also how about that weekend? By the way, Saturday night for July 4th, Padres 4-game set in LA at Dodger Stadium.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. There's gonna be a lot going on. Speaking of the Dodgers, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone's talking about to start the year the Padres overall play, like they're 10 games over 500. They've played well. They've hung around near the top of the NL West. Well, all of a sudden, Dodgers win yesterday. They've won their last 2. Padres have fallen 2.5 games out. All of a sudden, Arizona, you brought this to my attention earlier today, they've won 8 of 10. The Diamondbacks are closer to the Padres as we sit here today than the Padres are to the Dodgers right now in the NL West. So is it time to stop paying attention to the Dodgers and start paying more attention to the Diamondbacks?
I think that all kind of more depends on the Dodgers.
Okay.
The more the Dodgers kind of let the Padres hang around, naturally, that's going to be a conversation. Like, I don't think you could, if we're within a game or 2 games from the division, naturally you're going to talk about the NL West. If this ends up being, in the next month they're up 6-7 games, then it's just not going to be much of a conversation. What you said about Arizona, they've won 8 of 10. They've won, I think, 3 in a row now. Okay. So as the Padres lose those 2 games, they're continuing to gain ground. I think all this means to me, if I'd have told you before the season started, what's a more relevant conversation? About the Padres trying to catch the Dodgers or compete with Dodgers at the top of the NL West, or the Padres and the Arizona Diamondbacks fighting for second?
I would have said the latter.
It would be Padres and the Diamondbacks fighting for second. So I think honestly, it's been more on Arizona's back that they haven't got off to such a good start. Mm-hmm. Padres got up to a great start, still within 9 games over 500 now, at 1 point 11 games over 500. But you're right. The conversation could very easily over the next 30 days start shifting to it's a battle for second in the NL West. And I think the bigger surprise would be the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers are all still fighting for the NL West.
Yeah,
based off of the history.
I agree with that. And here's the other thing. To me, it's almost like we always have this conversation. Is it about the Dodgers? No, it's about the Padres and how they play. And now is it about the Diamondbacks? No, like the more I think about the way they're playing right now, it's like, look inward, because in order to be viable for 162, this has to This has to change. I think Craig Stammen was making that point in the soundbite we played 10 minutes ago. It goes back to what you said even earlier about the sustainability thing. Alan, if they do the same thing over the second 1/3 of the season, if they're hitting 219, 30th in baseball, if they're 29th in on base and 29th in slug, which is who they are right now, 29th in OPS.
What would their record be?
It's not going to be 9 games over. Now, by the way, 1/3 of the season is after today, but you get the point. Whatever. I'm telling you right now, they cannot do this again without better offensive results over the next 1/3 of the season.
Yeah, and listen, I think everybody is. This isn't a shocker. I don't think anybody's sitting here telling you that it's, the way they're playing is this is the recipe. This is how you're going to be successful.
Yep.
This is how you go through 162 games. My bigger issue, I think, is just kind of, I think there's just no more talking left. Either these guys, either Fernando Tatis starts hitting some freaking home runs and he's a threat at the plate again, or he's not. And either Manny Machado finds a way to be the Manny Machado that we're all accustomed to, or he's not. And I do think being a third through the season, it's a scary sample size.
Right.
Because that sample size might tell you that, hey, I don't know if the player that you're depending on or the player that you thought was going to deliver before the season started. I'll tell you what's not going to happen. How many home runs did Tatis hit last year? 24, 25?
I think 24.
Okay. Safe to say he's not hitting 24 this year?
Yes.
I'll tell you what's probably not going to happen. Manny Machado, I don't know what he hit off the top of my head, batting average, but let's just say he's career, where is he, 270-ish?
270s.
Okay.
He's hitting 170.
Is he hitting 270 this year?
Very unlikely.
Those are things that, like, that portion of talking about the stars is what scares me about them. It's like, oh, no, whatever your bar was before this season, your bar is just naturally coming down, not because of something we said, but because of their play.
We'll get your talkbacks this hour. We're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. If you want to weigh in, who's been the most disappointing among Toddy, Merrill, Machado? Open the app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click the red talkback mic, and tell us who. You'll be entered to win that 4-pack of tickets. But on the other side, how have the Phillies turned their season around? We'll ask Tom McCarthy, longtime Phillies TV voice, coming up next on Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The Padres and Phillies are getting set for game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Aaron Nola going for the Phillies and Randy Vasquez going for San Diego. First pitch is set for 6:40. We got game 5 of the Western Conference Finals tonight in the NBA. Spurs and Thunder, they're going to tip off a little bit after 5:30. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
All right, we'll catch up with Tom McCarthy, longtime Phillies TV voice, momentarily. Again, get your talkbacks in if you want a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Who's been the most disappointing Padre between Tatis and Merrill and Machado? Open the iHeartRadio app, search for 760, click on the red talkback microphone, and tell us who you think for a chance to win that 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. All right, so the Phillies yesterday, Alan, got back to 500 on the year. Remember, they fired Rob Thompson. Their season was completely sideways.
Yeah.
Lost 10 or 11 in a row at one point, and now very much back in the thick of things in the National League, that's for sure, at 500 overall. So Tom McCarthy will join us coming up momentarily.
Yeah, there was a point there where they were struggling so bad, and you thought to yourself, you're like, okay, could this be one of those NL teams that's not in the mix this year?
100% agree with
Especially Philly. Philly's
Yep.
one that, obviously a little bit of history with the Padres, and you just know are going to be a headache in the postseason. So that's a tough one to try to swallow. And here they are, they're back. And sometimes all you need is a little bit of change. They get a new manager, and then, it obviously changes their entire season, their outlook of their season. It's damn impressive what they've done. And Padres, look, they gave the Padres some chances early in the season last game on yesterday afternoon. Padres didn't take advantage of any of it.
All right, we're trying to connect with Tom McCarthy. I'm trying to do 2 things at once, which is text him. And I'll see, here's the issue. Let me take everyone behind the scenes out.
Let's go. Let's get behind the scenes here.
When we call a guest that isn't on more than once or twice a year, like they're going to see a phone number that is completely unfamiliar. Like if
so they're going to say
Kevin, it's like, oh, I see this number.
Right.
If it's Darnay Tripp, but it's like it's a radio voice or TV voice of the Philadelphia Phillies. Even though I said, hey, we'll call you 3:30. It's like, who is calling?
Basically what you're trying to say is everybody who has spammed all these calls out there are now affecting our show.
100%.
They're affecting our show.
We've got Tom McCarthy with us right now. Longtime broadcaster with the Phillies, longtime TV voice for the Philadelphia Phillies, who are in town right now. Game 2 of that 3-game set coming up at 6:40, and the Phillies have completely turned their season around. We're just touching on this after letting go of Rob Thompson, now back to 500 overall. So, Tom, we appreciate you joining us here in San Diego, and let's just start there. What has been the key here over the last few weeks to get Philadelphia back to 500?
Honestly, it's been the schedule. We just have played a much softer schedule than we had before. There's really, I hate to say it, there's really nothing different. Don Mattingly has done some little things like with meetings and things like that. But he and Rob are kind of cut from the same cloth. They're both Joe Torre disciples. And I've told people this, Rob was arguably the best manager I've ever had in my 26 years in the big leagues. And it's a shame that, something like our start, which was 9-19, cost somebody like him his job, because in reality, none of it was his fault. In reality, the players were just kind of sort of underachieving. And I think, that it was a little bit of a wake-up call. And I think there's another correlation. We got Zach Wheeler back 2 days before Rob was let go. And our starting pitching really wasn't doing great aside from Christopher Sanchez consistently. So since then, our starters ERA is 2.93, and they're averaging over 6 innings per outing. And prior to that, they were averaging about 5 innings per outing. So you can't win if your starters, particularly a team that's built with their starters, if your starters are only going 5 innings per outing.
Tom, so is it, I guess as you look at for the Phillies to get back to 500, kind of put themselves right back in the mix, you mentioned the schedule was a little bit soft. Do you still see the Phillies as one of the threats in the end? I tell you, out here in San Diego, which I don't think is too big of a shock, but everybody just assumes Phillies are going to be in the mix. When the dust settles, they'll be one of the tougher teams to get out in the NL.
Yeah, I do think that they'll be in the mix and be one of the tougher teams. I think it was shocking when they were 9-19. Not many teams have gone to the postseason after starting 9-19, but the fact that they did it early in the year and not late in the year, I think that was a big deal. The fact that they were able to turn it around. I mean, the 2024 Astros were the last team that went 9-20, that was, started 9-29 or worse and got in. But there's not many teams even before that have had that happen. So I do think that they'll be in the mix. I think it's going to be hard to win the division because they only have 2 series left against the Atlanta Braves. And the Braves have a 9.5 game lead over the Phillies and a 9 or 8 game lead over the Nationals. So that's going to be difficult, but I do think that there'll be a threat when it comes to the postseason.
Tom McCarthy with us right now, longtime TV voice of the Phillies. Again, Padres-Phillies game 2 coming up tonight at 6:40. What was it like, the Philadelphia perspective on how everything played out with Nick Castellanos? He comes over here. He's obviously filling a different role. He's been more of a bench player or a reserve. Numbers haven't been great, but he's had some moments for the Padres. But what was that saga like from the Phillies angle of it over the last handful of months?
The last handful of months weren't that big of a deal because he was gone. I mean, the last handful of months of last year, you really did see somebody who was somewhat disgruntled about his playing time. Felt like he deserved a chance to play every day and wasn't playing every day. Our manager, Rob Thompson, is an unbelievable communicator, and he laid out the whole thing to Nick, during the last month and a half of the season. I know he said that there wasn't any communication, but there was a lot of communication. And, he just wasn't performing offensively or defensively. And I think you guys have seen that. I mean, I think you see his defensive metrics aren't great. He does do a really good job coming in on the ball, but not necessarily, aside from that play yesterday, going back on the ball in the alleyway. So I don't think we've thought too much about it, since the start of the season. I'm happy that he has an opportunity. I think he's very happy here, in the final year of his contract. I don't know if this will be the last contract he gets or not, but I know he's happy here. And I think it's great for him. He did a lot of really good things in Philadelphia during his 4 years. It's just a shame that at the end of the contract, with a year plus left, I mean, he just wasn't performing, and they had to kind of go in a different route to get more of a performance out of the right field position.
Yeah, he's had a couple of moments. Nothing crazy. It's not like he's playing every day, but he's had a couple of good moments so far for the Padres. Yeah. Tom McCarthy, who's the longtime Phillies TV voice, joining us here on the Schaefer and Sliwa show. Tom, what do you make? And you get a chance, obviously, every single day. You're watching some of the best bats in the league. You're looking on the other side, and you got 2 players from the Padres. Fernando Tatis is yet to hit home run. Manny Machado is batting 170-ish, somewhere around there. These are 2 guys obviously been in the league for a while. Machado, over 15 seasons. What do you make of just how much they're struggling right now in regards to what they've been in Major League Baseball over a handful of years?
I think it's shocking, quite honestly. I mean, I watched Tatis yesterday play second base, and he played really well there. He's still fine defensively, but I think it's shocking. I think more so he's shocking than even Manny is, because I know Manny's had spurts. It's surprising. It really is. I never expected that we would be at this point in the year, 55 games into the season or 50 games into the season, and Tatis wouldn't have any home runs. I'm wondering, though, the last couple of days, where he's kind of, nothing's been hit overly hard, but maybe that's getting him around a little bit. We were talking about, why would you change your stance after the year he had last year, power-wise? And I think Manny will be fine. I mean, we're kind of going through it with Trey Turner right now, where Trey is really struggling offensively. And I don't really understand it, because the game itself is really built around the hitters at this point. But I do think that, these guys will get out of it and will give the burst that the Padres need. And Turner, the same with the Phillies, give the burst the Phillies need. They're just too good of players.
Tom, tell us a little bit about Aaron Nola's struggles here. And I forget what played out last year. He had the 17 starts. So remind me what played out with Nola last year. But again,
well, he did struggle last year. Yeah, he got a little bit of an outing or two in the postseason, but nothing to write home about. I think we're all kind of befuddled by it. Yeah. The guy works his tail off. He's one of the best people you'll ever meet in this world. Just one of the nicest people. He works hard. He just doesn't have the zip on his fastball as he used to have. And I think that's problematic in baseball, even though the offensive numbers are really down around Major League Baseball. If you still throw a ball that's 92, 93 miles an hour down the middle, these guys are going to hit it, and he's working hard to try to get out of it. He may have to kind of reinvent himself a little bit, become more of a two-seam pitcher than a four-seam pitcher. Maybe implement more of the cutter than he has in years past, and maybe twist it a little bit and throw it more like a slider or a slurve. One thing I've always told people is I've never worried about him. That I do think he'll figure it out. I just think it's going to take some time for him to kind of reinvent himself a little bit.
Joined here by Tom McCarthy, who's a longtime Phillies TV voice. Padres, of course, taking on the Phillies a little bit later tonight. Tom, I'm always curious whenever we interview somebody, and you got all these different markets that are represented. Obviously, the Padres it's a different team every few days. What does Philadelphia think of the current structure of Major League Baseball? And I'm just curious to get your thoughts from like a more big picture perspective, as Padres are obviously sitting in the same division as the Dodgers. You got some teams that are spending a ton, some teams are spending nothing. Just what's your overall view on the state of Major League Baseball, and obviously such a key year where we don't know what's going to happen after the season ends?
It's a big year. You're absolutely right. I think that everybody, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I do think that, that their feeling is the same as everybody else's, is that, we're fortunate in Philadelphia because our owner does spend. So if we're struggling to find a position player, and this has always been the case, they'll go out and get somebody. But, you guys know as well as I do that you have to be able to homegrown some players, because if you don't, you can't keep spending $25 million a year on a particular player. So I do believe that, the people in Philadelphia, the people in the East would like to see more of the smaller market teams spend a little bit more and be a little more competitive on a daily basis. But hey, let's face it, you're seeing three teams right now leading the divisions, leading their respective divisions, that have a payroll of either under 100 million or just a hair over 100 million in the Athletics, in the Tampa Bay Rays and the Cleveland Guardians. So, your farm system, your development's really important. I do think people are a little nervous, though, about what's going on, what will go on next year, that the lockout probably will happen in December. And I think they're reading into the tea leaves that this may be a long work stoppage. And I don't think anybody's looking forward to that.
No one is. 100%, Tom. Appreciate you taking time for us, Tom. Hope all is well. Enjoy San Diego, and I hope we can do it again soon. But thanks for hopping on.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, great stuff from Tom McCarthy. It is interesting because on one hand, yes, the Rays are 34-17.
Yeah.
But then again, Atlanta was spending money, and they are also are winning at a 667 clip. But yeah, the American League's been a little funky, and the National League poses problems for like a team like San Diego or Philadelphia. We've talked about this. There's only going to be 6 spots. Could be 6 or 7 really good teams, over the course of 162 here in the National League.
You just score a couple runs. Is that possible?
Nice.
I mean, just a couple of runs. I think to win sometimes it's nice to have a couple of runs.
Get your talkbacks in because we're announcing a winner of the 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair coming up at about 3:55. If you want to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair,
get them in.
Open the iHeartRadio app. Search for San Diego Sports 760. Click the red talkback mic and tell us which of Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and Jackson Merrill has been most disappointing and why. Well, that's a winner coming up in the next 10 minutes or so, and why tonight is so critically important for the Padres. That's next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, we've got some talkbacks in. We'll announce a winner coming up, Alan, in 8 minutes. Okay, for the 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. By the way, it's going up right now at Del Mar, like the fair.
I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, they're like rides and food and.
I tried going in.
Did you?
Yeah.
And what'd they say?
I said,
it's not open?
I said 3 to 6. I do a show with John Schaefer. They're like, brother, keep the line moving.
Oh, really? They didn't give you any
Nothing
special?
happened. No.
You didn't get anything?
Nothing at all.
All right. Well, we're going to go this summer.
We're going to go this summer.
And we're going to give away a 4-pack of tickets in about 8 minutes for one of our
We're going to eat
listeners.
something nice and light just to kind of get the day going. So probably some fried Oreos or something. Fried
like
Twinkie.
That. Yeah, something like that. All right. We asked, who's been the most disappointing? Toddy, Merrill, Machado. This is all for a talkback line.
What's up, guys? Awesome from Vista. Tatis is hitting close to his career average, so I'm not too worried about him right now. Merrill can still provide Gold Glove defense and makes a big difference on the bags. It's got to be Manny. His on-base percentage is well below 300. He's getting older, and as Manny goes, this team goes. So hopefully Manny can get it going. The rest of the boys can start swinging, and we'll see where it goes. Go Pods.
Thanks, Austin.
Austin and Vista, appreciate it. You know, I there's something that doesn't match up there. As Manny goes, his team goes.
Right.
They're 9 games over 500. So I guess apparently, maybe if you want to get a little bit more detailed on that, what you can say is if they got any shot of making real noise, like we're talking real postseason noise, then I'm with you as Manny goes, as Tatis, the Padres go. But up to this point of the season, that hasn't been the case.
Dude, if it's Manny goes, the team goes, to your point, they're 19-34. Like, that's how bad he is.
True.
If he was the team, you're not better than 19-34. To the texter's point or the talkback's point, his 595 OPS is as bad as it's going to get. It's his worst 53-game stretch to start a season in his 15-year career, as you referenced earlier. So, no, it doesn't get worse. And I'm with you. Your general point of it will get better, but will he get to his career averages?
No, that's not. And I think you just got to kind of lower your bar because if all of a sudden you said, if I told you right now, would you take 15 homers from Tatis this year?
From Fernando Tatis Jr. in one season?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would too.
Yes, of course.
That's pathetic.
Right.
Like, I hate to tell you that, and I hate to be so blunt about it. That's sad that we
still with 4+ months left.
On May 26th have conceded we'll take 15 home runs this year.
Right. We'll sign up for that right now.
So even if, you know, 2 things can happen. You can have a much better 2/3 of your season and not hit any of your career numbers.
Right. Because
the first third of your season was so bad, it's just going to be impossible to catch up. But, you know, anyways, it's kind of funny to frame it that way. Would you take 15 home runs from Tatis? I don't think anybody wouldn't.
I mean, I think there's some people that would take, like, what is the number you would take?
10,
it's like,
12,
how low will you go?
12.
10. Yeah, exactly. It's in that 12,
12,
13 range.
Which is half of what he had last year. And which was already not a year where you're sitting back and saying, look what Tatis is doing.
Right, a quarter of what he had in 2021. By the way, tonight, we just touched on this with Tom McCarthy. Aaron Nola, the longtime pitcher for the Phillies, a former first-round pick. He's had some really good years. He has been on hard times. 6 ERA last year. 6 ERA.
Better jump on his ass
year.
tonight.
This is the night, and you brought this up with me earlier. You're facing Christopher Sanchez tomorrow. Have you seen what he's done recently?
What's his numbers?
His last start, 8 innings, no runs. The start before that, complete game, shutout. The start before that, 7 innings, no runs. The start before that, 8 innings, no runs. His last 4 outings, he's gone 8 innings or more 3 times. He's gone 7 innings down every time. He is not allowed to run.
Freaking stud.
He's been a monster.
And that's why if you're Philadelphia today, if Nola's not pitching well, you probably are going to your bullpen and just
knowing that this guy can go 8.
You can throw anything you want today because you know you got Sanchez tomorrow. And listen, for Philadelphia, if they could walk into San Diego, just even the threat of sweep. That's why, look, I go back to it. We said a little bit earlier. Remember we were getting ready to start this homestand, or was it even the homestand? We were talking about just the A's and Philly.
Yeah.
And I think we were talking about what would you take? I think I had mentioned I'll take 3-3. Well, 3-3 means you have to lose 2 or 3 to the Phillies.
Right.
Already lost one of them. Obviously, tonight becomes that much more significant, that much more important.
Interestingly, so here's the thing. We just talked about Nola and his struggles, but the Phillies have played well. I thought the Padres would be a big favorite tonight with Randy Vasquez on the mound at home. They're not. They're -110 tonight. So basically a 50-50 coin flip to beat the Philadelphia Phillies. This to me, and it's easy to say this over 162. Oh, this is important. That's important series. This is important because if you don't win today, you're staring at Christopher Sanchez, and then you're going on the road. I think you're going to Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. You're going to Washington. We'll get into the Nats and that offense some point over the next couple of hours. So, like, yes, they play 162 times. Yes, I realize it's not a must-win game, but it is important knowing that Christopher Sanchez is facing you tomorrow.
What direction are you trending? It almost reminds me of they started this where they had, was it Seattle and then the Dodgers? Yeah, I think it was Seattle and the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But Seattle kind of got them back on track. Beautiful set over the weekend. I think it was last weekend. They win 3 in a row. They sweep them, and it's like, okay, hey, they're actually walking into the series of the Dodgers with a little bit of momentum. You took 2 or 3 from the A's. Just don't want to, again, like right now for San Diego, it's just all about kind of maintaining where you're at. And you do have teams in the NL West. Arizona's 2 games behind you.
Right.
So, I mean, you could be sitting here a week from now, all of a sudden, what you thought you were fighting for first in the NL West, you could be third in the NL West.
Shall we give away the 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair? Brent, can we get a drum roll? I might need you to tell me who has won, or you can tell me while you provide the drum roll.
Brent can make that happen.
Okay. No, he just told me, Alan. Guess who it is? Austin from Vista.
Let's go, Austin.
Austin, congratulations. You're walking away with a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. And here's the deal. Once upon a fair, there was a tale of food, fun, friends, family, laughter, tradition, music, amazement, and more. The San Diego County Fair, the biggest and longest running event in San Diego County, makes its triumphant return June 10th through July 5th. Closed Mondays and Tuesdays. Visit sdfair.com to plan your happily ever after. We will have another giveaway in the 4 o'clock hour. To qualify, you'll need to use the talkback mic. We'll tell you about that giveaway coming up on the other side. In addition, we'll get to the wrap, and Darren Smith will join us at 4:30 for thoughts on SDFC at the World Cup break, and his Knicks were in the NBA Finals for the first time this century, and of course the Padres as well. So Darren will join us at 4:30. Hour 2, Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app is next. All right, hey guys, it is Schaefer again for my friends at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. You're going to love their hotel and spa. You really will. You're going to experience elevated luxury with their refined hotel stay, featuring rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, all the excitement of Jamul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together now in one unforgettable destination. And you can take your stay to the next level with exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. You're going to love their dining options, including Jamul 23 or Tony Gwynn's. At Jamul 23, you're getting a lobster buffet every day. You can enjoy all-you-can-eat lobster every day, plus dozens of other delicious stations. You can start your morning with their new signature breakfast buffet. That's Monday through Friday, 8 to 10:30 a.m., featuring made-to-order omelets, fresh fruit, and sweet and savory favorites. And over at Tony Gwynn's, they have endless dining Wednesday through Sunday. That's every Wednesday through Sunday at Tony Gwynn's Sports Pub. Check it out at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
This report is sponsored by IHOP. Padres and Phillies are getting set for game 2 of their series down at Petco Park tonight. It's going to be Aaron Nola going for the Phillies and Randy Vasquez on the hill for the Friars. First pitch is set for 6:40. In some breaking NFL news, Packers running back Josh Jacobs was arrested this morning and booked into Brown County Jail on 5 charges, including domestic abuse, intimidation of a victim, and more. We'll keep you posted on any other developments on that. And we got game 5 of the Western Conference Finals tonight between the Thunder and Spurs. That will tip off a little bit after 5:30. Make today a little better with IHOP and the IHOP value menu, where a full satisfying meal is just $6 any day of the week. Picture fluffy pancakes, crispy bacon and eggs, or try the new BLT stacked high and served with fries. Big flavor, just $6 every day, $7 in some locations.
All right, hour 2, Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760 on this Tuesday afternoon. Wishing everyone hopefully a safe and enjoyable Memorial Day weekend. We're going to be with you until 6 p.m. Darren Smith, friend of the show, great voice on SDFC and Padres and New York Knicks basketball. His, childhood team.
The hell happened to our Cavs, man? I thought we had it.
Our Cavs. I mean, honestly, I thought the Cavs outplayed. I think the Cavs outplayed the Knicks.
Technically,
right?
If you ask Kenny Atkinson, who's the coach of the Cavs,
and
if you ask James Harden, they're up 3-1 right now.
They're up 3-1 going to New York. That could be hard.
And I think they're still going. Like, I think the team's still going to travel there just in case, because based on analytics.
Do you think they could beat the Spurs or the Thunder now that the Cavs are through analytically?
I don't want to say it, but
it's a possibility.
Anything's possible at this point.
Darren Smith will join us coming up at 4:30. Listen to what we're giving away this hour. All right. This is an amazing giveaway. You're getting 2 tickets to see Chicago June 10th. It's at the San Diego County Fair, which means you're getting fair tickets as well. So you're getting 2 tickets to the fair.
Wait a minute. On top of the fair, you're getting
tickets to see Chicago, the band, on June 10th.
I don't believe you.
And here's how you qualify to win those tickets. Same question we asked you in the 3 o'clock hour. Who's been the most disappointing Padre between Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and Jackson Merrill? Open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click the talkback microphone, and tell us who and why they've been the most disappointing. Tell us your name and where you're listening from, and you're automatically entered to win 2 free tickets to see Chicago and 2 tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Pretty good giveaway, isn't it?
Bro, they got some really good shows at the San Diego County Fair.
Yeah, we're going.
You know which one I think you're going to?
I'm going to go see.
We go Thursday, June 25th. We'll both go see Nelly.
I saw they were advertising Nelly. I saw that. I would see Nelly.
Nelly was freaking big in our days.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
Who else is? Give me a couple of a sampling of who's performing. You're looking right now.
We go Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy, doing a little appearance there.
All right, give me 1 or 2.
I'm assuming Marshmello here. This is all techno. Is that
Marshmello techno?
I think I could be completely off. I could be.
He's a
completely
DJ.
Off. Yeah, he's a DJ. Yeah, it's close enough. So got some good acts here. I was trying to take a quick look here. Any reggae on the calendar? No reggae part of the county fair, but I think there's reggae at the Sound, which is in Del Mar, that venue that they have.
And I told you when my wife was pregnant, so we're going back 7 or 8 years, we saw Ziggy Marley at the fair, which was a pretty cool show going back to like 2017 or 18 or whatever it was.
There you go.
I saw Weird Al there like 10 years ago.
Oh, that's right. You've mentioned that before. Yeah. It's a great little venue. It's a great spot. It's the San Diego County Fair. It's coming this summer to the Del Mar Fairgrounds. All right, Darren Smith at 4:30, but right now let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
How impressed are you guys by the Knicks this postseason?
Oh, Jesus. We got to give them credit. I still don't understand what I have against the Knicks.
I was thinking that.
Let's give credit where credit's due. They've won 11 playoff games in a row. Do you know in this playoff series or in this playoff run, they were down 2-1 to the Atlanta Hawks? Why does that feel like that was 4 years ago?
Wow.
Since they were down 2-1, they end up winning the final 3 against Atlanta. They sweep Philly, and then they swept the Cleveland Cavaliers. Listen, as good as San Antonio and Oklahoma City is, this is as impressive as a run that we've seen in the postseason. I mean, 11 wins in a row. I think they tied I think the Lakers for most wins in a row in the postseason. I think I saw that. Remember the year against when Allen Iverson steps over
Their only loss.
Ty Lue?
Yeah.
It's their only loss. They were 11-0 up to that point.
Right. I mean, it's so hard, obviously, to win at that kind of clip in the postseason. That's why it's like never been done. The last perfect sweep through the postseason, Moses Malone, 83.
I was there.
I was there. Right? Remember that? You were there.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. It's hard to go perfect in a postseason. We were talking about even with OKC after the first 2 rounds. They were 8-0.
That's right.
Heading into the Spurs series, and they've been down in the series, and now it's tied 2-2. That critical Game 5 is coming up. Knicks have been awesome. I think the NBA Finals are going to be an incredible series, whether they get the Spurs or the Thunder. You don't play like this and roll over. So I think that's going to be a long series against whoever gets out of the West against the Knicks.
I got a tough time arguing with you on that one. And here's the thing that the Knicks have. It's not like they don't have a roster. Like, they have freaking names. They've got a really good team. Just didn't think they were going to have this much success.
Next question.
Was the $5.11 million paid for Victor Wembanyama 1-of-1 rookie card an overpay?
So you saw this story.
Okay, I saw the story. This is your world better than mine.
I mean, I'm not the $5 million card guy.
You're the guy.
That's a different realm.
I've seen you walk in here with a briefcase full of cash. And I've heard you say, I said, what are you doing?
Buying Wemby cards.
And you said there's a lot on the line tonight, Al. And I didn't ask any other questions.
That's hilarious.
Here's my fear with somebody spending $5.1 million on a Wemby card. Here's my fear.
Yeah.
How many championships has Wemby won?
So far?
So far.
Zip, zero, zilch.
If there's one thing that we say about Wemby, about how great he is, how great he can be, what's the thing we say after? I hope this guy doesn't get injured.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are we sure we want to fork over $5 million on a player that hasn't done anything yet? He's unbelievable, but he genuinely hasn't done anything yet. You know this world better than I do.
No, I mean, to your point, they're still a dog in this series. I mean, to win the series, they have to win in Oklahoma City. They're not favored to win the series. They can. I mean, they're great. They've been awesome.
Yeah.
So it's possible, and we'll see. Maybe this story changes over the next 2 or 3 weeks.
My God.
If it's Michael Jordan, the legacy is solidified.
Done.
It's done. If it's Kobe Bryant, LeBron, to your point. So those are safer propositions. For me. This is a risk-reward play. I mean, could this be a value along the way? I'd be surprised at that price. But what if he blows out a knee? What if he only plays until he's 30 years old? What if he wins, let's say, 1 or fewer titles? I mean, even 1 title. There's a lot of examples of players with 1 title that aren't remembered as the greatest players in basketball history.
What are cards like?
Okay,
so what is, again, this is your world, you know more. Does Jokic have any value? I mean,
he does.
Does he have a lot of value in the baseball,
Alan,
or not baseball, but in the card?
Cards are based on height, as in you could have someone with a solidified career, but there's no longer hype surrounding that player. Therefore,
it's
their
not
market
as much
doesn't
of a
deserve
gamble.
the same premium. It doesn't get the same premium even. So, like, I don't even know how to describe it, but Victor Wembanyama has so much hype around him that the market is skyrocketing up. If and when he loses that hype, this card will never be worth $5 million again. But if he is going to be a 4-time champ and redefine the NBA, then maybe it will be. But there's so much risk in a purchase like that.
Nervous for this guy. I'm already nervous for this guy.
I think he's probably got money.
The guy that paid $5 million, I'm nervous for. That had $5 million for a Wemby.
What do you got, Brett?
The highest recorded price for a Nikola Jokic card is just over $1 million.
So think about that. And this guy has
established.
Exactly.
How many MVPs?
MVP, has a ring. And his card market isn't the same as Victor Wembanyama's.
1/5 of that.
It's insane.
You kind of got to treat it like a stock.
Yeah, it's like
just don't hold on to it too long, because he might buy it now and say the Spurs win the title, then he could sell it for more money in like 3 months.
And
I'm nervous.
To put a bow on it, the card market for Wembanyama is tenfold Shea. And Shea's already got a ring and 2 MVPs and could have a second on the way.
Okay, about Shohei and Wemby.
There's a lot of discussion about them being similar markets. As in, like, is Wemby the Shohei of the basketball card market, because you can do no wrong with Shohei in the card market.
Shohei could potentially be a power forward next year in the league.
And people will pay $1 million for a card of Shohei's dog.
Seriously. Next question.
Who wins tonight's Game 5 between the Thunder and Spurs?
Speaking of which.
I got to keep rolling with. I mean, listen, I don't think this is must win for San Antonio. I think it's must win for the Thunder.
Right.
I picked Spurs before the series started. I picked them in 7. I'm going to say San Antonio wins tonight, but I do think it's much more important for OKC to win. I think it's must win for the Thunder. I'm going to lean towards the San Antonio Spurs. I'm not 100% sure why.
I didn't love what I saw out of Oklahoma City in Game 4. Maybe it's one of those, hey, we did our job in Game 3, and now we've taken back home court advantage. So
and they did.
They did do
that.
Yeah. But I look at tonight's line. The first 2 games, Oklahoma City was favored by 6.5, then 7.5. Tonight, with Jalen Williams, we'll see on him. I assume he's out.
I think he's out.
I think
they've already announced that he's out. AJ Mitchell's out too.
They're a 3.5-point favorite. Not yet a coin flip, but you're pushing closer to a coin flip. Again, they were a 6.5-point favorite in Game 1 and a 7.5-point favorite in Game 2. So
what does home give you? 3 points?
3 points.
Okay.
So this is a very losable game tonight, obviously, for the Thunder. And I do think the Spurs smell blood in the water a little bit.
I don't think OKC can lose and win this series.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they have to win tonight's game to win the series. I think San Antonio can still lose tonight and still win the series. Did you hear De'Aaron Fox, what he said in their postgame? I think it was on NBC.
What did he say?
He said after Game 3, the whole organization is in the locker room, the trainers, all this stuff. Who comes in the door and rips them a new one?
Who?
Greg Popovich.
Wow.
Said Popovich walks in. He said this is not something that he's done at any point this season. Not something he's done in the postseason. Came out and basically said, you're disrespecting the game. You didn't play the game the way you were supposed to play. He said it had a big impact on their Game 4 win. I thought that was interesting. That's kind of a unique storyline there.
Especially if they win this series. Mm-hmm. Next question.
Is Manny Machado washed?
Is Manny Machado washed?
Is he done?
No, I don't think he's done. I don't think he's done. I don't think you fall off a cliff that quick. I hope not. And still watching him at third. There's a lot of plays he still makes defensively. When he does hit one out, it looks so pure, right? Like he still has that. Yep, that's Manny Machado. Kind of has that lean back as he hits. I don't think he's washed. I think I think he's obviously in a terrible, terrible rut so far this year. And I'm gonna just try to have some blind faith Machado's going to get at it.
I agree with you. Now, I don't think he's the same player he was in 2020. Short season, had an amazing, 30 or 40 games. I remember that year. Or the year he finished second in MVP voting. Was it 2022? I don't think he's that player, probably, but I don't think he's the player we've watched this year. Hit 170 and have the sub 600 OPS. He has to get going for both his sake and the team's sake. Yeah. And I don't think he's going to reach his career averages, would be my guess this year. That'd be incredibly impressive, but he's got to do a lot better than this. There's no way this is the player he now is. Although I will say this, Alan, his second half last year, when he was on fumes, was awful. And his first half this year is awful. You put the two halves together, it's been awful. So it's a little bit, you know what I mean? It's kind of a carryover effect from the way he finished 2025.
I like that he's not shying away. He's not saying, part of what he said yesterday, he says, it's coming.
Yep.
I'm a click away. Just need one to fall. They'll start coming.
I like that.
He's confident, obviously confident himself. He's obviously put a lot of this on his own shoulders, as he should. That's what leaders do. And I'll give him credit that, I don't think he's dodging or shying away from any of this.
Darren Smith will join us at 4:30. More on the Padres, SDFC, and the Knicks in the NBA Finals. On the other side, were the Cavs, in fact, the better team?
We talking analytics?
Potentially. Were they the better team or not than the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals? And get your talkbacks in if you want those Chicago tickets at the San Diego County Fair. Tell us which Padre has been most disappointing and why out of Toddy, Merrill, and Machado. Open the app, search for San Diego Sports 760. Click that red talkback microphone. Darren Smith at 4:30 on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, San Diego Sports 760 congratulates all our winners in iHeartRadio's Think a Teacher powered by Donors Choose. There's still time to donate to a classroom project, and your donation will be matched by Donors Choose. Remember, help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Just go to the website, iHeartRadio.com/teachers, iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
All right, Darren Smith will join us live at 4:30. We're asking you to get your talkbacks in as Alan crumples up his piece of paper and tries to make a shot in the trash can. Get your talkbacks in. Click the iHeartRadio app. Search for 760. Click on the talkback mic. Tell us which Padre has been most disappointing and why between Manny Machado and Tatis for a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Chicago on June 10th at the San Diego County Fair. You get tickets to the fair. You get tickets to the show. We'll announce a winner this hour.
So Harrison Michael on YouTube, which we need him in the talkback. He said, I'm disappointed mostly in myself for believing the offense would be better this year.
I mean, it is funny because last year the offense was really bad. They let go of the hitting coach.
Yeah, but
and now it's gotten worse.
Yeah. Okay, but this is I'll go back to a conversation we were having earlier in the year, and I think a lot of the YouTube chat would agree with this because a lot of these guys had a similar kind of message. I liked their lineup this year. Early on, like I'm looking just on a sheet of paper.
Deeper.
I'm like, all right, you got Gavin Sheets.
Yep.
Got Fermin. You got Andahar. You got Ramon Laureano. Like you started looking at the depth.
Look at this. Yeah,
Jake Cronenworth was further down. Like all of that, I thought would play to the Padres' advantage. And man, there's some guys right now. Like it just depends on where you are in the pecking order, because Xander the last 30 days has been really bad.
Really bad.
Fermin's numbers are just god awful. Laureano, for the most part, has been really quiet. Remember, he started the season out really hot, 4 home runs. He's been pretty quiet. So there's a number of other players that aren't performing. They're just getting buried because the stars aren't there.
Yeah, and again, this idea, because we've talked about it ad nauseum, and we're like, well, it's going to change, right? Look at you, sunk another.
I got fouled too. I don't know if you saw that. No, I did.
You would maybe.
I got hit in the wrist.
Okay, Shay.
And
I'm pro Shay.
Wow,
dude. Can we talk about that for 1 second?
That's all anybody wants to talk about.
That story is only intensified. I saw Reggie Miller say within the last 24 hours, like, what's with the scrutiny on this player? Now listen, does he go down on a lot of his field goal attempts? He does, but like stylistically, that's just like who he is. Like he definitely goes down a lot. Is he foul baiting? Yeah, I'm sure occasionally he is, but aren't a lot of players in the NBA foul baiting?
Well, why is everybody jumping on him then? Because I agree with you. Is it the winning?
I don't know.
They used to demolish Harden, and Harden wasn't technically winning.
Right. I mean, did they demolish Luka the same way, or?
Yeah. Why is Shea getting this?
I mean, he does go down a lot. And I'm a Shea fan. I am a big.
What's
Shea
he going down? Because I thought during the Lakers series, I didn't think it was crazy.
Right.
I could tell. Yeah. I mean, obviously the guy is foul baiting, but I didn't think it was crazy. What is it that he's doing that's I think it's like extra?
Once he goes up for, and I actually saw on social media like a fall rate among NBA players. I don't know if
so. He just takes his legs out from underneath him.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of kicks him out.
Don't do that.
At times. Now, other times. Defenders do take his landing zone away because they know he's a good
once every 100
weapon.
shots.
Maybe. Yeah. So listen, I see some of what people are saying, but do I think the theatrics are so ridiculous? That's the reason why he's good, or that's the reason why the team is good. That's way too far for me. I don't think Oklahoma City is going to be like a 2 or 3 time champion over 2, 3, 4 year period because Shea gets calls.
Here's where, and I kind of have gone under more of the assumption of, I don't know. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are really good, but I think the thing they need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
You're already so good. Like, don't disrespect your own game. Like if a lot of these guys, and I've seen them, it's been Alex Caruso. Like I've seen other guys kind of foul, Chad Holmgren on a couple of possessions. It's like, let people respect your game for what it is rather than do you need to be cheap about it? Like, do you need to be, you guys are already so good. Don't cheapen your own talent by trying to.
Somebody recently, I think it's a good take. Was it Jay Williams? You know who I'm talking about, Jason Williams or Jay Williams. What's he go by now? The former Duke point guard. He had a pretty passionate argument that like almost Oklahoma City was disrespecting not their own game, but the game. It's not like I'm with you. I don't think Shane needs to be that player to be a really good NBA player or one of the top like 6 players in the league. So it's like he's almost disrespecting his own game. Jay Williams went even further. It's like they're disrespecting the game by going about it that way.
And maybe that's how people feel with if they're not liking stylistically how they play. Can I just say this? Isn't the solution very simple? Brent, am I crazy on this? Am I crazy on this? Why doesn't the NBA just review these plays? And if they could tell that you're just flopping, find their ass, and you're not going to have this issue moving forward.
They can already do that because technically.
But I don't think they've done it this year.
No, because they don't enforce it anymore.
That's my point. Like if you're getting such a negative connotation about these guys are flopping, they're doing this, they're doing that. All right, review it. Game ends. This is what we noticed. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander took his own legs out.
Right.
And he tried to sway the referee in a call that was not the right call. Here's your fine.
Alan Horton, your buddy, T-Will's voice.
Yeah.
Was like
Minnesota Timberwolves.
They don't call flops. The entire NBA season, there were like 4. I think he said either 3 or 4 all season long. So clearly the NBA isn't emphasizing it. Now, here's my one issue though, potentially. If the NBA starts making it a point of emphasis and you go from 3 flops an entire season with 30 teams to like 399.
Yeah.
I'm like, you went from one extreme to the other. Just be fair and reasonable with it. Of course, there's more than 3 flops in the NBA. I don't know if I need to see 6 flop calls per game, though. If you want to call a flop, make it a point, find the player, assess a technical or a flagrant, and go on with it. But are we going to go from no flops in the NBA
to
what 6 per game?
Typically, this is what happens. For the NBA, and I'm sure for other sports as well, they try to like set a precedent in the preseason.
Right. Call it the way it's going to be called.
This is our plan this year. And you can't do it in the finals. Like you can't just start in the finals and say, we're going to start reviewing all these. But there's a few things that make no sense to me. The things that bother fans the most, I always get so confused of why those things don't get addressed. It's like, it's like you own a restaurant.
Yeah, this is your fan base.
And you have your customers coming in. They're like, we really, really think that, the bathroom, there's an issue in the bathroom. Just take care of it. And you're like, yeah, you'll be fine.
Like, why not just deal with it?
Just take care of it.
Let's connect with Darren Smith. On the other side, his Knicks are in the finals for the first time since 1999.
Technically, but I don't know. Analytically, I don't think
Analytically, the Cavs are, but the Knicks are actually going to be in it. Plus, his thoughts on the struggling, scuffling Padres offense and SDFC at the World Cup break. Darren Smith joins us next. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Padres and Phillies are getting set for game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Aaron Nola going for the Phillies and Randy Vasquez going for the Padres. First pitch is set for 6:40. In NFL news, Packers running back Josh Jacobs has been arrested and is facing domestic violence charges. We will see if we get any more updates before the show's done. And tonight we got game 5 of the Western Conference Finals between the Thunder and Spurs. That will tip off a little bit after 5:30. And as of right now, Jalen Williams is questionable for the Thunder. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
All right, congratulations are in order to Darren Smith, who, of course, is a longtime friend of the station and show, and you can hear him on SDFC broadcasts and more here in San Diego. But let's not bury the lead. His New York Knicks, right, childhood team, are in the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999, Darren. I mean, 1999, dude, it's a long time. Like, where were you in 1999? You weren't yet in San Diego, right? Like, congratulations, dude. The Knicks are in the Finals. That's crazy.
Well, thank you. I think it's always a bit weird when somebody says congratulations about a team that you just are a long time fan of, that you suffered with, especially. That's the right word in this case. Where was I in 99? See, I think for me too, one of the things, just real quick, and I know I'm probably wearing people out on the whole history lesson of the Knicks, but the 99 final was not even one for me that there was no emotional investment in that.
Wait, is that the shortened season?
Well, it wasn't so much that. It was that Patrick Ewing, who was the best player, got hurt. He was out for the remainder of the year. Larry Johnson, who was the second best player, he got hurt. And they were the 8 seed. They were the first 8 seed ever to advance to the NBA Finals. Right. So there was no expectation for it whatsoever. And then the 2 best players got hurt before you even got to the final. So, there was no real expectation. The 94 one is the one for me that's still, I mean, I could fill the rest of the show talking about the 94 team. I was so convinced. I've never been more convinced about anything in my sports fandom other than that team was going to win the NBA Finals. And they lost in the 7th game after taking a 3-2 lead back to Houston. And my favorite player on that team was a guy named John Starks, who shot 2 for 18 and went 0 for 11 from 3-point range in Game 7. Imagine watching your favorite player as a 21-year-old go down in flames like that. It was agonizing. I'm still, to this day, I still have some of those open wounds. But 99, I was working at ESPN, and I think I probably tossed out there a little optimism and got swatted down quickly by some of the people that were working, going, that team, they don't have a chance. But they even won a game in the NBA Finals was kind of its own miracle. So it's been a long time. It's been a really, really long time. And I think Mike Breen said it very well last night. He understands it. He's the perfect storyteller for what's gone on there over the last couple of decades and how bad it's been. I think he said 7 playoff wins before Jalen Brunson got there, and now it's been 33 since he's been. So it's not been fun. It's been a lot more a pain to be a Knicks fan. So yeah, this is better. And now you can get nervous trying to figure out how exactly they're going to stack up against whoever comes from the West.
I saw a tweet earlier today, and it had Brunson and Luka. That was your backcourt at one point in the Dallas Mavericks. Right. Obviously, not having those guys anymore. Darren, I'm going to keep one more NBA question here. So tonight you got San Antonio and OKC. Do you have, as a lifelong Knicks fan, is there hey, I'd rather play this team over that team? And both of these squads are obviously incredible. You got the defending champs, and then San Antonio Spurs, pretty damn special what they're doing as well. Any preference between the two?
Not really. Selfishly, it's easier if I'm going to try to get to one of these games. It's easier to get to San Antonio than it is to get to Oklahoma City. It's really hard. You have to stop somewhere. You have to lay over. Oklahoma City, defending champs, really, really good. Best talent. I think that it'd be fun for Knicks and Spurs. I mean, I'm sure you guys, that would be a rematch of the NBA Cup. Right. I was there. So, and I thought that would be the high watermark. I'm going to go watch Knicks and Spurs in the NBA Cup because I don't know if I'm ever going to feel this good again as a Knicks fan. So I think Knicks in San Antonio would be a lot of fun. But at this point, when you've waited this long, it doesn't really matter. You could pull out the Kobe Shaq Lakers from the early 2000s, and I'd be fine with that too.
All right, well, we'll see. Here's the one thing the Knicks have. They've got time. So we'll see how that impacts them. The finals don't get underway for another week, actually a week and a day. It'll be the Knicks, obviously, against either OKC or San Antonio.
They can go vacation with the Cavs and come back for the finals.
Well, the Cavs are still playing.
Yes.
Cavs are still analytically playing right now. That's
technically.
I know, my gosh.
Oh,
how terrible. I mean, oh, my goodness. What are they
One of the
saying
worst
over
quotes
there?
I've ever seen.
I mean, the Harden thing, he walked himself into it. I watched this whole, we didn't play it today so far, Darren, but he spent 60 seconds thinking about it, what happened. And then he at the end of it, he's like, yeah, I do think we're the better team. You didn't have to say that, man. You could have just said
we got our ass
swept, and we could have played better. We didn't, and we got swept. Let's switch gears to, well, first of all, the World Cup's about to get underway, but secondly, SDFC is in the midst now of its break after playing this past weekend against Vancouver. What needs to change, obviously, moving forward? They didn't play well against Vancouver. I know they've kind of been the class of the Western Conference. Vancouver has. What do you hope to see when the second half gets underway, so to speak, after the World Cup break?
Yeah, needed break. I think you can kind of just see it even through the first half of the game against Vancouver. As good as Vancouver is, taking nothing away from them, they were without a couple of key pieces, and SDFC's without some key pieces. But the difference when San Diego's without key pieces facing other teams that may be missing a player due to injury or suspension is, the roster's just thin. It's just not the same here, So, you're putting guys into situations that maybe they're not 100% prepared for, and younger players, and the DNA of the club is going to be built around a lot of younger players, but not everybody can make it look as easy as some of the young guys like Luca Bambino and Manu Dua have made it look. It's hard. It's hard when you're out there and you're facing professionals and really, really good players. So I think the break comes at a good time for mental fatigue, for physical fatigue, for the shortest offseason of any MLS team out there, for guys that were back and forth with World Cup qualifying, who maybe, were dealing with some of the disappointment of their own individual situations and some of the team stuff with the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So to be able to go back and have a proper camp before you pick up and start playing again in late July, I think is going to be good for them. Plus, the head coach said in his post-game press conference, he was asked, the transfer window will be opening up, like the trade deadline will be opening up. And he was asked, will they be active? He said he thought they would be, and said that they have their eyes on a striker or a proven goal scorer to play on the front line, which would be really good, and more of an attacking-minded midfielder. So if you were asking me what I would want, what would my wish list be, I would say find somebody who can help Anders and help Marcus Ingvartson, and somebody in that midfield who's got some nose for goal, and let's give it a run starting with the remaining 19 games in July.
Darren, is that concern? I mean, I know it's not. You look at the MLS standings right now and seeing that they're sitting in 10th. Not that they're just this they're so far behind they got no shot. Like you said, still 19 matches left. But is there any doubt in your mind that, hey, they're going to be in this battle just to make the postseason?
Not for me. I still think it's a playoff team, but you do have to come out of the gates really, really strong, and you do have to get everything squared away here. I think the way the first. The way the season started, it was great, right? I mean, remember what we were talking about? Like, wow, this team could maybe be better than it was in 2025 when it won the Western Conference and set all these expansion records, because they got through the Puma side that just played for the title in Mexico, and they started 3-0 and they had 3 clean sheets, and then they got knocked around by Toluca and they just sort of lost their way, and I think it was really more difficult to get that back. So you won't have to deal with some of that stuff. Now, are they going to go defend their title in the Western Conference? I would suspect probably not. Are they going to be in the conversation for Supporter Shield for the best record in the league? I think we probably don't need to waste our time talking about that. But I do think that they are, I think if they go out there and make some smart moves, I truly believe everything that I've been saying for the first 15 games of the season. I think they're going to make a run. I think they're going to go into the playoffs, and you take your chances, right? Because this is what sports has become now, especially in a league where, almost everybody makes it. You go in there, you take your chances and see how you stack up.
We need to ask you a question on the Padres, but I want to stick on soccer with the World Cup about to get underway, and having you joining us right now. And I don't know the answer to this in terms of U.S. expectations, because we're carrying some friendlies coming up, including one on Sunday, I want to say, against Senegal. And then there's another one against Germany coming up. We're going to carry them on 760. And then this thing's about to get underway, which is crazy, in the next couple of weeks. How do you see it as a U.S. soccer fan, or even looking at, the roster's been unveiled now? What are their expectations here at home this summer?
Well, I think the expectation is clearly to get out of the group stage, right? Like that's the absolute minimum that this team could do. And I say without any hesitation that should be something that we should assume is going to happen no matter what. Do I think that they should win their group? Probably should win the group, which might help pave a smoother road for success in the knockout rounds, because if you win the group, then you play against the third place team, and this gets super confusing, especially with 48 teams. I mean, it's just insane. So you would rather play a third place team than finish second in the group and have to play some group winner. So I think the expectation is win the group. Win. I think others have said quarterfinals would be the bare minimum here, especially on U.S. soil. I would agree with that as an abstract, in terms of everything that we thought about leading to this roster reveal and the fact that we've known this tournament was coming to North America for the better part of a decade. We should have been building towards something like that. Probably a little ambitious to think it's going to go any higher than the quarterfinals, but I would say anything less than that, you're probably going to feel like, I don't know. Maybe we didn't put our best foot forward here with this, once in a lifetime opportunity for these players.
Darren, I'm going to switch gears here, talk a little Padres. I'm going to try to do something that I don't know if in our hour and 42 minutes we've been on the show already. Can you find something optimistic about what the Padres are doing with their bats, or at least maybe an optimistic view of what you think it can be? Because every time, obviously, we talk about the struggles, and it's not just Tatis and Machado. The list is very long. They just, obviously you start going towards the guys that are making the most amount of money. But what is your kind of take and view of if things start clicking, what can happen with the Padres? They are still 9 games over 500, whether we know how they got there or not, how they're winning some of these games or they're not. But is there an optimistic take that you can find a way to spin the Padres offense if things start clicking?
Yeah, I think it's what you said. I mean, they're 31-22, and they're terrible. I mean, it's just they're like a gross-looking offensive team. I mean, I don't do anything well. They just don't. Yet it's just been a combination of getting hits at the right time, and maybe there's something to that. It's one of those that's difficult. We joked about it earlier today because we talked about the Cavs coach talking about how analytically, they had won 2 of the first 3 games of a series that they were trailing 0-3. And, John and Alan, you guys know this. I'm a soccer announcer, so I talk about expected goals and things like that. And we've talked a lot about exit velocity and all that. And sometimes, what is your record is really, the most important thing. Let's think about 2023 for the Padres that had a run differential that, according to the math associated with run differential, suggested that they should have been a 90-win team. Lots of us talked about that all season in 2023. That was Juan Soto, right? That was Manny Machado, Tatis, etc. And, that was what the Bill James Pythagorean theorem suggested they should have been. That's why so many of us thought maybe this is a good team, actually, and, the record. So, you can get tricked into some of this stuff and into not believing what it is that you see. And, yeah, it's not really fun to watch, and it's disappointing to watch these guys struggle. So many at bats, especially given their names and their contracts, which is fair. But, sometimes having an instinct and an ability to win, even against, data that suggests you shouldn't be doing as well, can be in and of itself a skill. Like you show up going, let's just like laugh through it, and who knows who it's going to be tonight? Maybe it's going to be Gavin Sheets again. Maybe it's going to be somebody like Laureano or pick a player who wouldn't be on the front of the media guide. So. Yeah, I mean, it's not a great answer. I mean, it sort of sounds like wishful thinking, but I do think so many times now what we're being told about success, and especially in the era of underlying metrics and such, it doesn't pass the eye test. And we can say that this team does just enough to get by to, let the strength of the team, the bullpen, carry it across the finish line more times than it hasn't.
Darren, appreciate you taking time. It's always good when your team advances somewhere and then you can take a deep breath.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like the Knicks are playing tomorrow and their season will be determined tomorrow. You get to enjoy it for a moment. Maybe it's too long, truthfully, but it's nice to be able to enjoy
Darren,
something.
I think if he had a grade 1 hamstring strain watching as a fan, so he should be good to go by the time the final
you're
starts.
Be ready to go. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
D, we appreciate you doing it, man.
Hopefully. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I know. I mean, it's like the whole rust and rest and,
the whole other
game one against the Cavs. That was one of the games the Cavs actually won analytically. So, and it's due to the fact that the Knicks got rusty because they had 9-10 days off between the semifinal and the final. So who even knows what to expect? But yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for the invite as always.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you, Darren Smith, who does a great job, obviously, on the call with SDFC.
I forgot that game 1 was the Cavs blowing that lead.
That's exactly right. That's right. In game 1, they led by 18 with 8 minutes left. Incredible.
No, 22. They were up by 22 with 7.5 to go.
Oh, good point. I think they were 51.
That was game 1.
That's right. They were up 22. Incredibly. All right. Hit us up on the talkback, Mike. We're giving away those Chicago tickets on the other side here until 6 p.m. Stay with us. Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right. If you want to win these Chicago tickets, this is at the San Diego County Fair, June 10th. We have 2 free tickets, plus tickets to the fair for June 10th. Hit us up on the Talkback mic. Open the iHeartRadio app. Search for San Diego Sports 760. That's Alan opening one of his Waterloo sparkling waters. And click on the Talkback mic and tell us which Padre has been most disappointing and why between Machado, Tatis, and Merrill. We'll announce a winner coming up in 5 minutes for the Chicago tickets.
And just pick one of them, because I know you could sit there for an hour and a half and break down each one of these players.
Earlier today, we said Kevin Acee published a quote from Manny about a mea culpa, like, my bad, I haven't played well. Alan spent like a week telling us that people stole his Waterloo sparkling water from the fridge. He goes in today, Brent, thinking there's 1 left because he thought 2 were stolen. How many are in the case, Alan?
What'd you do this weekend? Like, how was the vibe this weekend?
No. How many were still in the case?
Do you sleep in usually, or do you like still get up with your regular routine?
They were all still in the case. I think the math suggests there were 3 in the case.
I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened Friday. I don't know what happened.
You think someone brought him back in, maybe?
I swear, I thought
That's what I was wondering.
I thought there was 1 left, which, if I'm counting correctly, I'm like, I think I'm down 2.
And there's 2 in there now.
And then we go and we're going over to the fridge. And I'm like, what if somebody took the last one and left the box in there? Like, that
would have been amazing.
That's the biggest. Yeah. I don't give you know what, like, almost a little bit of respect if somebody did that. I don't think I went down far enough.
No, you saw one. You're like, that's the last one, but you missed a row, and there were 2 in that last row. So, are you here to issue an apology on air to?
I would. I mean, for the entire community here at the iHeart Studios in San Diego, I just want to say that I always believed in you.
Yes,
and I never thought you guys would take one of my sparkling waters. And up to this point, you have not. It was a miscount.
It was just a miscount.
It was just a simple miscount.
Mistakes happen. Okay. If you missed our conversation with Tom McCarthy, Phillies TV voice, you'll hear that coming up at 5:30. I haven't told that to Brent, but you'll hear that coming up at 5:30. We'll give away those Chicago tickets coming up in a moment. Remember, we spent a lot of last week saying, would you trade the farm for now? Right. Would you trade the farm for now?
Oh, no. Where are you going with this?
Well, the opposite side of that coin is when you trade the farm, it can impact you later. For example, CJ Abrams, the Padres are about to see him.
Really no need to have this conversation.
I think there is, because the Padres are about to play the Nats, right?
Yeah, later, I think they're coming up
in DC.
Yeah,
this week.
It's for me, it's like one of those things. You know how they say, don't procrastinate and just like jump on things.
About it.
I would rather wait until we're actually playing them.
What day do they play? Thursday or Friday?
Tell you right
now. Yeah,
I will tell you they're playing them in 2026. That's 100% sure.
I think they're playing them this week.
They're at Washington starting Friday. Okay. So they finish up Tuesday, Wednesday, Philly off day Thursday, 3-game set in Washington.
CJ Abrams this year has been a monster. His OPS plus is 161, 61% better than league average for any major league hitter.
God.
He's on pace for 33 home runs and 135 RBIs.
Stop. There's no need to have this conversation.
So I guess the question is, as you look towards this deadline or last deadline or past deadlines, do you look back negatively or wishing things didn't occur the way they occurred, or do you just live in real time and deal with it?
Let me tell you how I look at it. Okay. So CJ Abrams, up to this point, he's got 46 RBIs. Relax.
It's insane.
He's got 12 home runs, so you can probably add 13 Padre players and you get to 11.
Right.
All right, let me see what's Wood doing. James Wood, 267. What's he got here?
14 homers.
Oh my God.
Wow. 939.
35 RBIs for him as well.
Have you seen how the team is playing, the Nationals? They're hot. They're over 500.
Are they over 500?
Oh, yeah, they're 28 and 27. They're playing well.
Look, it's a fair question.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how I look at it. I don't think I could take back that Soto moment.
Gotcha.
Having Juan Soto as San Diego Padre, it really was one of the more. It was a big moment.
Cool. Yeah.
I mean, you're freaking trading for Juan Soto. What they were trying to do, what they were trying to accomplish, they're trying to win at the time. Don't forget when they traded Juan Soto, Michael King and Randy Vasquez, your 2 best pitchers were part of that trade as well.
Right.
I mean, and they've been in the playoffs here basically year after year. It just, the way I look at it is when I see those two players' success or other success of other players that you trade at a young age, how is it not a gut punch? But I understand why they did it. And if you're San Diego today, I don't think you got to kind of pick and choose which franchise are you going to be. In a perfect world, it's a great combination of the two. Do you want to try to compete right now, or do you want to build towards the future? They're in the process of trying to compete right now. They've been in the process of trying to compete over the last 5 years. Part of that process is going to take away some studs that could eventually become studs in Major League Baseball, and the Nationals got a couple coming from San Diego.
Yeah, surprisingly, like I'm just cool with it. Like I just see it as the cost of doing business. It's like you want a really good vacation, it costs a lot of money, potentially. Now you have to be prepared to, spend the money. It's like going to a casino for the experience. Like, okay, I lost $2,000 playing craps. If you're okay with it, if it's part of the experience, I'm kind of okay with it.
You know what it is? And it's, I think a better example, it's like you have a big decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
Go left or you go right.
They're different decisions.
You went right. It's impossible not to think of like,
what would have happened if I went left?
What would have left look like?
Yeah.
And you're also watching it unfold. You're like, oh, that's happened. Like I get to see what left looked like. Now, again, you're no guarantees or any of that. You and I were talking about this. What do they do with Ethan Salas? Is that another player they trade? They are in a, like, until they're not in a win now mode.
They're in a win now mode until they're not. Exactly.
Now, again, the best front offices got a balance here. And I would say for the Padres right now, it's not much of, AJ Preller, what he is he's very, very aggressive. That doesn't make him a great president of baseball operations. He's a very, very aggressive one that's trying to win today. And some of that comes, you take some L's, you take some lumps along the way.
Brent, do we have a winner of the Chicago tickets for this hour that we can give away right now, or do you want to do that on the other side? We're going to do it on the other side. We're giving away tickets to see Chicago. Again, that's at the San Diego County Fair. Still time. Just a few moments to get your talkbacks in. Open the app, search for 760. Click the talkback mic and tell us which Padre offensively has been most disappointing and why. Tom McCarthy at 5:30. Back to the Padres on the other side. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. The Padres and Phillies are getting set for game 2 of their series down at Petco Park. It's going to be Aaron Nola going for the Phils and Randy Vasquez on the hill for the Friars. First pitch is set for 6:40. In NFL news, Packers running back Josh Jacobs was arrested today and booked on several domestic violence charges. We will see if we get any updates on that before the show is done. And we have game 5 tonight in the Western Conference Finals between the Spurs and Thunder. Jalen Williams is still listed as questionable as of right now. And the tip will be a little after 5:30. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
All right, final hour of Schaefer and Sliwa. Tom McCarthy, Phillies television voice. If you missed our conversation, you'll hear it coming up at 5:30. We've got the latest on Joe Musgrove coming up momentarily as well. But Alan, we have a winner.
Quotes.
We have a winner of Chicago tickets to see the band Chicago.
Yep.
At the San Diego County Fair. So can we get a drum roll, Brent? All right. The winner of Chicago tickets is Doug, Rancho Penasquitos, listening in from Rancho Penasquitos. We were just up there, right? A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Naughty Barrel.
At Naughty Barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Doug, congratulations. Thanks for using that talkback mic. You are going to see Chicago at the San Diego County Fair on June 10th. This is on the Corona Grandstand stage at the San Diego County Fair, all part of the Toyota Summer Concert Series, featuring a variety of classic favorites and shooting stars, all aimed to appeal to a wide variety of music lovers. Once upon a fair in a land not so far away, the story of your San Diego summer begins. Shows all include same-day admission to the San Diego County Fair. For the best seats in the house, purchase at sdfair.com. Great giveaway that we'll have throughout the course of this
Phenomenal
week.
giveaway.
Right here on Schaefer.
And let me give Doug a little bit of credit.
Yeah,
Doug was
do.
relentless.
He used that talkback mic multiple times, right?
Doug, you know, some people will they'll get one no. It's a good lesson. Doug taught us all a lesson today.
Keep using the talkback mic.
He's like, listen, you don't like this one? I got another one for you.
If you didn't win today, by the way, if your name is not Doug, more chances to win.
Yes.
Coming up tomorrow on Schaefer and Sliwa. All right, Joe Musgrove. This is a story that has played out really over the last 2+ years.
Yeah.
He was so important in 2024 until he went down due to injury.
Was that game? Were you at that game?
You were at that game. That's
Atlanta?
right. No, I was not at that
game. Game two against the Braves? Yeah, I think it was game 2 against the Braves.
King pitch game 1.
Yeah, they won. They closed out that series, but he left maybe third inning, something like that. You know, it's not apples to apples at all by any stretch of the imagination. But, you know, kind of had a similar feeling like earlier this year, all of a sudden out of nowhere, pitching coach goes to look at Nick Pivetta. You're like, well, that's not good.
Never good.
Starts walking off the mound. But yes, it was October 2024 where, you know, that moment, we never know what would have happened, but could have been a huge impact on costing the Padres versus the Dodgers.
So now he's trying to work his way back. We have some quotes, but just the sheer amount of time, folks. Think about that from October, what Alan just referenced against the Braves, until let's say at some point in the second half of this year, talking 21-ish months, maybe longer than that. That's what Joe Musgrove is working towards. So what's the latest with Musgrove?
So here's a quote that he has, and this is courtesy of The Athletic. I was talking to The Athletic. Realistically, when you look at the time it will take for me to build up, probably right after the All-Star break.
Okay.
He said, I'd love to get back sooner, but I don't think innings-wise and time-wise, there's enough time for me to get there. He said, I'll continue just reading this. I mean, I could come back in a relief role, I think, but they want me to start here, so I'm going to try to get everything where I can build up to start in the second half. Let me just kind of give you my initial thoughts.
Please.
The fact that Joe Musgrove is talking and he's letting people know that there's a little bit of a timeline here of what his target is. We don't know what's going to happen, but what scares me sometimes is when I hear nothing. So not hearing any news on Nick Pivetta is concerning to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not hearing any news on Joe Musgrove, typically concerning to me. The fact that Musgrove is actually talking about it and saying, this is the timeline that I'm looking for, doesn't mean it's going to happen. Doesn't mean, it's going to go perfectly, but just to have the conversation about Joe Musgrove potentially coming back. I don't know what version of Joe Musgrove we're going to see. I don't know if it's going to be the best version we've ever seen or a lot worse version than he's been in his past. But that to me, I think is just, it's the only thing that I forget everything he just said. Joe Musgrove is talking about coming back. That's got to be a positive.
It is. I have found in Joe Musgrove's time in San Diego that he can be a little overly optimistic in terms of his timeline. Like he always wants everything to occur quicker than they actually do occur. Maybe that we'll see if that's the case here or not. The reason I say that, if you're back right after the All-Star break, you're talking about the middle of July. The All-Star game is July 15th. So let's just give me even another week and say July 22nd, right? That's just after. I mean, that's in less than 2 months. He has not or is about to start a throwing program. Just think about the ramp up here. From throwing program to rehab to starting in the major leagues. I mean, maybe there's a scenario where he pitches in relief. I just feel like there's going to be starts and stops. I think they're going to be so cautious even when he does return. He'll, have a 50 or 60 pitch count, then we won't see him for 6 or 7 days. So, I mean, I'm hopeful. I'm a big fan of Joe Musgrove. It's not his fault he's hurt. I'm not blaming Joe Musgrove at all.
No, you're just
sometimes it's just like, hey, I'm this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to be back right after the All-Star break. Like, I wouldn't even say it. Just take it a day at a time, and when you're back, you're back.
Well, I don't know if he's walking back some of the stuff he said.
Right.
But to finish off the quote here, I'm not holding myself to a deadline.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, but you did kind of just give an All-Star deadline. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Not holding myself to a deadline. The training staff's not holding me to a deadline. It's not like we're going to speed the process up to make a certain date, but if everything goes smoothly, we have those windows in mind.
Okay. If everything goes smoothly. Okay.
For me, because it's been so long since we've seen Joe Musgrove.
Yeah.
For me, it's almost like maybe it's a luxury to get Joe Musgrove back, because what are you going to expect from him? But Nick Pivetta is a necessity.
I agree.
The Pivetta stuff, not hearing anything on the Pivetta front, that to me is, more concerning. Pivetta started this season. I saw how good Nick Pivetta was last year.
Right.
I saw when the season started, the Padres gave Nick Pivetta the ball to represent the San Diego Padres against Scooble and the Detroit Tigers.
Right.
So the Pivetta one, I'd love, of course, like every other Padre fan out there, to get some updates in regards to him. But again, just to hear something from Joe Musgrove is positive to me. But that to me becomes more of, maybe the Lucas Giolito thing is kind of like they know they have to stock up with their starters. I thought Canning had a really good start yesterday. I think that's another positive start for the Padres from their starting rotation. But the Musgrove thing is obviously it's a piece, but it's not the most important piece. Pivetta would be the most important one.
I think the most fascinating part of it is going to be how the timing of those two pitchers impacts AJ Preller at the deadline. As in, when you're Preller, you want as much information as you can possibly have. Is Pivetta healthy? Is he effective? Is Joe Musgrove healthy? Is he effective? Or do you have to treat it as if they're two huge question marks and unknowns? And if they are, to your point, I agree. If we think Nick Pivetta is a necessity, me and you, and let's say the Padres organization agrees, well, if he's not healthy when the deadline rolls around, remember, Pavetta's saying he's behind Musgrove's timeline. So now you're pushing late July, potentially, for Nick Pivetta. If he's behind Joe Musgrove's timeline, what does that mean for AJ Preller at the trade deadline? Will he be required? Will it be a prerequisite for him to pick up starting pitching at the deadline?
And maybe that's why we're getting some of those stories about them trying to go and get more bullpen guys.
Yep.
I mean, maybe their thought process is like, all right, typical bullpen. Can you get it to if you got a great bullpen, can you get it to the 7th? Well, they probably look at Estrada and they're like, can you get it to the 6th? Not that Estrada's always done that. Well, now they're looking at more bullpen guys. Can you get it to the 5th? I mean, I'm not telling you that that's the right game plan,
right?
But does that also tell you something about where they are, what they think about their offense, or maybe the assets that they have to work with, of how they can address some of their needs? I don't have an answer for you on that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they were linked this weekend by Bob Nightingale to Antonio Senzatella, who's now pitching in relief for Colorado. He's been incredible. He has a 1.13 ERA, but it's like where there's smoke, there's fire. They've been linked to Chapman, Hader.
That's right.
Senzatella, who I think is in the final year of a deal, has a .78 whip. It's like, well, it is interesting. They're being linked to a lot of relievers, lower asset cost than a starting pitcher. And maybe it is, to your theory, that, yeah, starting pitching would be nice, but if we can turn the ball over with a lead to a Senzatella in the fifth inning, it's shortening games.
Or they feel like they have enough. If they get healthy, that they'll have enough from a starting perspective.
I think if they get healthy, they will, truthfully.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, that's gonna. I think that's gonna be the biggest question: is can they have the proper health at the right time?
Yeah, I agree with you. All right. Oklahoma City Thunder, San Antonio Spurs, this critical game 5 coming up just after 5:30. But on the other side, remember we talked about this late last week? San Diego State men's basketball with a injury already this offseason impacting them in the portal, but they've since addressed that need. We've got the latest for you on the other side about San Diego State's recent pickup from this past weekend. Plus, we're getting you ready for this critical game 5 between the Spurs and the Thunder. And you'll hear from Tom McCarthy, voice of the Phillies, at 5:30 on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. Tom McCarthy is the Phillies television voice. If you missed our conversation, Phillies Padres game 2, you'll hear it coming up at 5:30. Spurs Thunder, critical game 5, Alan. 18 minutes away from OKC.
Your boy out tonight.
Jalen Williams
officially
out.
You agreed with me?
You said that. You said there was no chance he was playing.
Do you agree? By the way, just because we've seen these hamstring injuries, I mean,
Yep.
there's a lot. Luka was out for the final 8 weeks of the season.
Right.
7 weeks, whatever it was.
People were talking about Jalen Williams 5 days later, right? 7
yeah,
days.
I mean, I don't know how you get back in. Now, question for you on this game. By the way, this has been an incredible series, tied to a piece. Like I know they've had some blowouts, but still really, really fun games to watch.
I'm with you.
Kind of a must win for the Thunder. Am I crazy on that?
I completely agree. I think you lose this game, go to San Antonio, you're asking to lose the series in 6. I just don't see how you overcome that. It would be like as good of a performance as you could have to avoid a closeout in that situation without Jalen Williams, potentially. So I'm with you. And they're only a 3.5 point favorite, the Thunder, tonight. What do you got, Brian?
They just flashed a stat on NBC that said that going back to the start of last year's playoffs, the Thunder are 8-0 following a loss.
All right. Makes sense. They've been, coming off a title and in the Western Conference Finals. So you could call it a big game tonight. You could call this a big game. I'm going to call it a big game.
Series has been great. Series has been awesome.
Really
I think they announced yesterday when the finals start. I think the finals start tomorrow, a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, a week from tomorrow.
1 week from tomorrow.
So which means
the Knicks
are going to have 9 days because they played yesterday. And the winner of this series depends if it goes 6 or 7.
So former Laker, Michael Thompson, who I used to do the pregame show with when I was part of the Lakers broadcast.
Right.
He used to tell me a story. He's told the story plenty of times that there was a time the Lakers were getting ready to play the Pistons. They had 10 days off. I think they swept everybody. They had 10 days off before the NBA Finals would start. So Pat Riley, who was the coach at that time, you know what Pat Riley made them do? They went back to Santa Barbara, which I think is where they used to do training camp.
Or do like a little mini camp?
2-a-days.
Wow.
2 guys, magic hurt a hamstring.
I was going to say, you don't do that now. Probably, right? Everyone hurt something.
So he'd always say, like, there's this balance of trying to figure out how hard you want to go and how hard you don't want to go. I, obviously for the Knicks, I mean, the Knicks they could be off until Friday and still have plenty of time to get ready for the finals.
Yeah, I would just say don't get hurt. I would just stay in bubble wrap if I was the Knicks, truthfully.
Well, Shaq brought up, too, on last night on postgame that when he went to the finals that year with the Magic, and I think it was 94, 95, they had 10 days off in between two. And he said they went to like Disneyland and had a parade. And he said then after the parade, they went and got swept by the Rockets. He said that's how much free time they had.
They had a parade before the finals.
Jesus.
Oh, my Lord. All right. We'll hear from Tom McCarthy coming up at 5:30. So we mentioned this late last week.
Yeah.
Then, unfortunately, San Diego State lost a key piece that they added via the portal. Nick Anderson, who came over from Rice. He averaged over 15 points per game last year, a wing. So he suffered an apparent knee injury. That's significant. He may play next year at some point, but that's far from a guarantee coming off a significant knee injury. So they go back into the portal, which is still open, and they sign another foreigner, a player by the name of Isaiah. It's pronounced C, like the word SEA or SEE. Isaiah C. He averaged 10 points per game last year, 10 points, 5 rebounds last year at Oregon State, shot over 35% from 3. He's out of France. He's the 3rd French player on this roster. San Diego State in general now has former European pros and others that have been born overseas. And they've just added a 6'7" wing by the name of Isaiah C. And if nothing else, it gives them more size because Nick Anderson wasn't this big. Now, Nick Anderson was scoring over 15 points per game, but it's a team that's added size and is continuing to add as the transfer portal is nearing a conclusion.
Yeah, 6'7".
Yeah.
Do you think, like, is there any way to have a feel
for what they're going to look like?
Yeah.
No,
I don't think
not
there
necessarily.
is.
No.
Like, I like, we've talked about this. Some of the talent that they've brought in, you would call veterans in college because a lot of these guys were playing in pro leagues where some of these starting lineups were guys all over 30 years old.
You're right.
So you're playing against legitimate men who have mortgages to worry about and everything else where, and of course you got some guys obviously coming back. It's so difficult to have a feel for what they have. It's like you're putting together all these ingredients and I got no idea what it's going to taste like. It's like, yeah, but I'm using the right
Good
ingredients.
Yeah.
It's like, how are they going to complement each other? I don't think
point.
there's a way to know.
No, it's a really good point.
I got faith in Dutch. I got faith in the
that's what I was gonna
SDSU program. I think, give them the benefit of the doubt.
Here's another story to consider, and I have not done the research necessary on this as of yet, but I do know there's a lot of chatter around those that cover college athletics. The NCAA supposedly is enforcing some type of crackdown on European pros with a certain amount of tenure. And the issue is, can they really accomplish that this offseason? Because all these teams have already made their additions: Gonzaga, San Diego State, Illinois, Arizona, so on and so forth. So if you're really going to crack down on, I'm making it up, someone played professionally at a top league in Italy for 4 years, well, they're not going to be eligible. There is a lot of discussion around that right now. I don't know
about affecting this upcoming season.
I don't know.
A bunch of idiots. How the hell do you do that?
How could you do that? You have to put a rule in place and then enact it the next off season. How can you do it as the portal process is playing out?
Okay, so let's say
there's a crackdown.
And
it impacts eligibility of players. I think it maybe could impact like an Aztec, not all of them, as in it's going to be based on tenure in a pro league and age.
Sure.
So like it could potentially impact the.
That's sloppy,
so
which is all. I think college basketball, football, college athletics is sloppy. Like right now, we're in a very sloppy state of how college athletics is run.
Yeah, completely agree. So something to, again, another thing to worry about if you're a college athletic fan or an Aztec fan, just what's playing out again on the periphery. All right, Tom McCarthy, longtime Phillies television voice. If you missed our conversation from earlier, you'll hear it on the other side. Phillies are hot, by the way. They won yesterday. They at one point were 10 or 11 games under 500. They've completely flipped their season around. Kyle Schwarber, still Kyle Schwarber, homered yesterday for the Phillies in that 3-0 win. So if you missed our conversation with Tom McCarthy, you'll hear that on the other side. Plus updates coming up in the final 30 minutes of the show from the Western Conference Finals, Game 5 between the Spurs and the Thunder here tonight. So stay with us. Tom McCarthy on the other side, right here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We are live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The Padres and Phillies are getting set for game 2 of their series down at Petco Park. It's going to be Aaron Nola going for the Phillies and Randy Vasquez going for the Padres. First pitch is at 6:40. In some NBA news, Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla was named the NBA Coach of the Year. Mazzulla led the Celtics to 56 wins this season and the number 2 seed, despite Jason Tatum missing a majority of the season with a torn Achilles. Spurs Thunder game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. They're getting ready to tip off here in about the next 5 to 10 minutes. Jalen Williams is officially out for the Thunder. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, Western Conference Finals, Game 5 about to get underway. But if you missed our conversation from earlier, we had the longtime TV voice of the Philadelphia Phillies, of course, Padres Phillies coming up at 6:40. Tom McCarthy with us. The Phillies have turned their season around. They fired Rob Thompson, hired Don Mattingly. We asked Tom what has been the key to the turnaround.
Honestly, it's been the schedule. We just have played a much softer schedule than we had before. There's really, I hate to say it, there's really nothing different. You know, Don Mattingly has done some little things like with meetings and things like that. But he and Rob are kind of cut from the same cloth. They're both Joe Torre disciples. And I've told people this, you know, Rob was arguably the best manager I've ever had in my 26 years in the big leagues. And it's a shame that, you know, something like our start, which was 9-19, cost somebody like him his job, because in reality, none of it was his fault. You know, in reality, the players were just kind of sort of underachieving. And I think, you know, that it was a little bit of a wake-up call. And I think there's another correlation. You know, we got Zach Wheeler back 2 days before Rob was let go. And our starting pitching really wasn't doing great aside from Christopher Sanchez consistently. So since then, our starters ERA is 2.93, and they're averaging over 6 innings per outing. And prior to that, they were averaging about 5 innings per outing. So you can't win if your starters, particularly a team that's built with their starters, if your starters are only going 5 innings per outing.
Tom, so is it, I guess as you look at for the Phillies to get back to 500, kind of put themselves right back in the mix, you mentioned the schedule was a little bit soft. Do you still see the Phillies as one of the threats in the end? I tell you, out here in San Diego, which I don't think is too big of a shock, but everybody just assumes Phillies are going to be in the mix. When the dust settles, they'll be one of the tougher teams to get out in the NL.
Yeah, I do think that they'll be in the mix and be one of the tougher teams. I think it was shocking when they were 9-19. You know, not many teams have gone to the postseason after starting 9-19, but the fact that they did it early in the year and not late in the year, I think that was a big deal. You know, the fact that they were able to turn it around. I mean, the 2024 Astros were the last team that went 9-20, that was, you know, started 9-29 or worse and got in. But there's not many teams even before that have had that happen. So I do think that they'll be in the mix. I think it's going to be hard to win the division because they only have 2 series left against the Atlanta Braves. And the Braves have a 9.5 game lead over the Phillies and a 9 or 8 game lead over the Nationals. So that's going to be difficult, but I do think that there'll be a threat when it comes to the postseason.
Tom McCarthy with us right now, longtime TV voice of the Phillies. Again, Padres Phillies game 2 coming up tonight at 6:40. What was it like, the Philadelphia perspective on how everything played out with Nick Castellanos? He comes over here. He's obviously filling a different role. He's been more of a bench player or a reserve. Numbers haven't been great, but he's had some moments for the Padres. But what was that saga like from the Phillies angle of it over the last handful of months?
You know, the last handful of months weren't that big of a deal because he was gone. I mean, the last handful of months of last year, you really did see somebody who was somewhat disgruntled about his playing time. You know, felt like he deserved a chance to play every day and wasn't playing every day. You know, our manager, Rob Thompson, is an unbelievable communicator, and he laid out the whole thing to Nick, you know, during the last month and a half of the season. I know he said that there wasn't any communication, but there was a lot of communication. And, you know, he just wasn't performing offensively or defensively. And I think you guys have seen that. I mean, I think you see his defensive metrics aren't great. He does do a really job coming in on the ball, but not necessarily aside from that play yesterday, going back on the ball in the alleyway. So I don't think we've thought too much about it, since the start of the season. I'm happy that he has an opportunity. I think he's very happy here, in the final year of his contract. I don't know if this will be the last contract he gets or not, but I know he's happy here. And I think it's great for him. He did a lot of really good things in Philadelphia during his 4 years. It's just a shame that at the end of the contract, with a year plus left, I mean, he just wasn't performing, and they had to kind of go in a different route to get more of a performance out of the right field position.
Yeah, he's had a couple of moments. Nothing crazy. It's not like he's playing every day, but he's had a couple of good moments so far for the Padres. Yeah. Tom McCarthy, who's the longtime Phillies TV voice, joining us here on the Schaefer and Sliwa show. Tom, what do you make? And you get a chance, obviously, every single day. You're watching some of the best bats in the league. You're looking on the other side, and you got two players from the Padres. Fernando Tatis is yet to hit home run. Manny Machado is batting 170-ish, somewhere around there. These are two guys obviously been in the league for a while. Machado, over 15 seasons. What do you make of just how much they're struggling right now in regards to what they've been in Major League Baseball over a handful of years?
I think it's shocking, quite honestly. I mean, I watched Tatis yesterday play second base, and he played really well there. He's still fine defensively, but I think it's shocking. I think more so he's shocking than even Manny is, because I know Manny's had spurts. It's surprising. It really is. I never expected that we would be at this point in the year, 55 games into the season or 50 games into the season, and Tatis wouldn't have any home runs. I'm wondering, though, the last couple of days, where he's kind of, nothing's been hit overly hard, but maybe that's getting him around a little bit. We were talking about, why would you change your stance after the year he had last year, power-wise? And I think Manny will be fine. I mean, we're kind of going through it with Trey Turner right now, where Trey is really struggling offensively. And I don't really understand it, because the game itself is really built around the hitters at this point. But I do think that, these guys will get out of it and will give the burst that the Padres need. And Turner, the same with the Phillies, give the burst the Phillies need. They're just too good of players.
Tom, tell us a little bit about Aaron Nola's struggles here. And I forget what played out last year. He had the 17 starts. So remind me what played out with Nola last year. But again,
he did struggle last year. Yeah. He got a little bit of an outing or two in the postseason, but nothing to write home about. I think we're all kind of befuddled by it. Yeah. The guy works his tail up. He's one of the best people you'll ever meet in this world. Just one of the nicest people. He works hard. He just doesn't have the zip on his fastball as he used to have. And I think that's problematic in baseball, even though the offensive numbers are really down around Major League Baseball. If you still throw a ball that's 92, 93 miles an hour down the middle, these guys are going to hit it, and he's working hard to try to get out of it. He may have to kind of reinvent himself a little bit, become more of a two-seam pitcher than a four-seam pitcher, maybe implement more of the cutter than he has in years past, and maybe twist it a little bit and throw it more like a slider or a slurve. One thing I've always told people is I've never worried about him, that I do think he'll figure it out. I just think it's going to take some time for him to kind of reinvent himself a little bit.
Joined here by Tom McCarthy, who's a longtime Phillies TV voice. Padres, of course, taking on the Phillies a little bit later tonight. Tom, I'm always curious whenever we interview somebody, and you got all these different markets that are represented. Obviously, the Padres it's a different team every few days. What does Philadelphia think of the current structure of Major League Baseball? And I'm just curious to get your thoughts from like a more big picture perspective, as Padres are obviously sitting in the same division as the Dodgers. You got some teams that are spending a ton, some teams are spending nothing. Just what's your overall view on the state of Major League Baseball, and obviously such a key year where we don't know what's going to happen after the season ends?
It's a big year. You're absolutely right. I think that everybody, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I do think that that their feeling is the same as everybody else's. Is that we're fortunate in Philadelphia because our owner does spend. So if we're struggling to find a position player, and this has always been the case, they'll go out and get somebody. But, you guys know as well as I do that you have to be able to homegrown some players. Because if you don't, you can't keep spending $25 million a year on a particular player. So I do believe that, the people in Philadelphia, the people in the East would like to see more of the smaller market teams spend a little bit more and be a little more competitive on a daily basis. But hey, let's face it, you're seeing 3 teams right now leading the divisions, leading their respective divisions that have a payroll of either under 100 million or just a hair over 100 million in the Athletics, in the Tampa Bay Rays and the Cleveland Guardians. So, your farm system, your development is really important. I do think people are a little nervous, though, about what's going on, what will go on next year, that the lockout probably will happen in December. And I think they're reading into the tea leaves that this may be a long work stoppage. And I don't think anybody's looking forward to that.
No one is. 100%, Tom. Appreciate you taking time for us, Tom. Hope all is well. Enjoy San Diego, and I hope we can do it again soon. But thanks for hopping on.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Great stuff from Tom McCarthy, again, the longtime television broadcaster for the Philadelphia Phillies. So while that was playing out, the Thunder and Spurs have gotten underway tonight from Oklahoma City.
How are we not live streaming you and I during this game? We are both on such opposite ends.
We really are. So Alan is all in on the Spurs. What's the exact reason? Because I'm curious. I forget.
I don't know if I have a reason. I picked San Antonio. I like watching the Spurs play.
I do too.
So a little bit of that.
Okay. And I'm team
And
OKC.
I want to see Wemby. You want to see
Wemby in the finals.
Yeah.
I'm team OKC just because my wife loves Shea. And because of that,
but you're passionate.
I love OKC. This is like
what
this
what
game
are we watching here?
I don't know.
It's the sloppiest start of a game that I've ever seen.
Yeah, the nerves, the importance, to your point, like must win, arguably for both of these teams, but certainly for Oklahoma City at home. So it's a bit of a fast and furious.
Shea did not flop right there.
No, he did.
That was he took a shot and stood on 2 feet.
Stayed on his feet. It's a good point. It is. All right, so we're going to come back. We will have an update for Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. We're getting ready for the Padres and the Phillies game too. Plus, I want to share a story from this weekend with you. One of my weekend experiences this long weekend. I drove to LA and back. Now, you drive a lot to San Diego and back from LA.
Yeah, but you okay, we'll talk about it coming up. The way, I don't know, you got to come to me when you need a game plan of how to do this. Let's strategize a little bit. Let's talk a little.
It was a very bad idea what I did. And I'll explain it to you coming up on the other side. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, final time here on Schaefer and Sliwa. What do you got for us, Alan?
All right, San Diego Sports 760 and iHeartRadio present our 2026 iHeartRadio Music Festival, the biggest music event of the year. Legendary performances from the biggest names in music and once-in-a-lifetime collaborations. We'll announce the complete lineup for this year's show and let you know how you can win tickets before they go on sale. Everything you need to know happens Tuesday morning at 8 a.m.
All right.
Another once-in-a-lifetime music event from iHeartRadio and San Diego Sports 760.
Meanwhile, this game is over. Spurs are up 11-6. I'm just punting on this.
Do you think they will, the broadcast, if this keeps getting out of hand because it's 11-6?
Yeah.
Do they
start talking
get out
about
of the programming? 6? No. Do they just leave the game?
Local news? Yeah. On the East Coast, probably.
Air Fox can't hit a shot if his life depended on it.
Yeah.
Just play Law and Order rerun.
You play Law and Order rerun.
I don't have a great feel for this game, honestly, with Oklahoma City being without Jalen Williams.
Well, they've been without Jalen Williams a lot.
I mean, but they did win game 3 without him.
Yeah,
on the road.
To be honest, and that was with Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox coming back.
You're right.
I mean, the Thunder are the Thunder.
That's well said.
They are still going to be, such an incredibly difficult out. But this is kind of I think it's more of a desperation game for them. I think San Antonio can still win the series without winning this game.
Right.
And Wemby, so far, what we watch, Wemby has been involved in nothing. He's been involved in nothing
and
so
still
far.
The Spurs are up by 5 early. All right, so I should have asked you about this before I did it. Okay. So on Saturday, as you sink another bucket.
I cranked one off the rim earlier.
On Saturday.
Stop shooting short from 4 feet. You got to stop shooting short from 4 feet.
Again, it's not my specialty. But this game is honestly over. I'm turning this. Can you turn on whatever Rockies, Predators, whoever the NHL game was?
We watched the Spurs go up 19-5 on OKC, and OKC
was 15-0. It's 15-0.
Or 15-0,
and they lost by 15. Yeah. So anyway, Saturday.
So you go up to LA.
I went to LA, and I didn't realize it was Memorial Day weekend. No joke. I had no idea.
Sure.
Until I was in it, I'm like, I'm going.
How would you know?
So
that?
It took me forever not to get there, but to get back.
Okay, give me the game plan. What time did you leave? Give me the quick.
The idea was, I was trying to drop off 2 ticket stubs. Okay. I did a 6-hour total commute.
Oh my God.
To drop off 2 ticket stubs that I could have just put in the mail.
Why'd you do that?
The experience. Because I wanted to go to this Burbank Sports Cards.
Okay, so you had a reason. So you never been to this sports card spot?
It's the largest sports card store in the country. Okay.
Interesting.
It's only like a year or 2 old. Okay. This exact location.
Yeah.
And I knew that they took these submissions for cards or tickets. And I had a specific ticket stub that I recently found from Kobe Bryant's rookie year.
I remember you saying
when
that.
the Lakers played the Sixers. It was like his 5th ever game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and then I looked it up online and it looked like the card had the ticket had a lot of value.
Okay.
So I'm going to get this authenticated and graded. So I physically dropped it off in Burbank.
Mostly because you wanted to go see this place.
I could have just put it in the mail.
Yeah.
Well, again, it was a good experience overall, other than the fact that it took forever to drive home.
Okay. We'll get in the drive.
Yes.
No problem. That comes with the territory. You should know that.
I know that.
You have a Kobe Bryant ticket stub.
Correct.
To his first game playing in Philadelphia?
Correct. Yeah. Because again.
So this is in 1996?
This is 96, November.
Yeah.
I went to Lower Merion. He went to Lower Merion. And this is his 5 games or so into his rookie year. He's back that morning.
So cool.
That morning, I saw him inside the high school, just shooting it up with teachers and students.
Wow.
And then that night, some of my buddies and I went down. We sat upstairs. The ticket stub's $20, which probably was a decent amount of money in 96 to sit upstairs. Honestly, sure. I was 16 at the time. And as we're watching the Spurs blowout, they're up by 5. So anyway,
you're a fun watch. I could already tell.
I can't deal.
Yeah.
But I hold on to ticket stubs. Okay. And that's my issue with what's going on right now. Something's going on right now. What's going on right now is digital ticketing. It's you go to the World Cup right now.
Mm-hmm.
A World Cup's coming to North America every 30 years. And how do you remember it? With your digital coupon or whatever? I want a physical, tangible item sometimes.
I get it. I know what you're saying. I wanted a record. I wanted a CD, but it's all digital. It's it's going to come with the territory. Okay, so you get up to Burbank. It takes you how long to get up there?
It's probably 2:10.
Okay,
normal.
That's pretty normal.
And I get in there.
How long do you stay in the store?
I was in the store 90 minutes because we wanted to sell a couple of cards for my 7-year-old son.
Okay.
They offered us $65, which is very nice for, I have no idea what we gave them, but they gave us $65. And here was the other takeaway.
Now, do you take the ticket stub? You kept it?
No, they keep it for 35 to 45 business days. And
so
then
confused.
they send it back to me.
Oh,
it's like a drop off to an authenticator, and then the authenticator authenticates, and then they get it back to you. But here's the other thing. So we're in this store. They have 2 million cards. I don't even know how to describe it, right?
Yeah.
There's literally 2 million
Is this
cards.
like an individual owner, or is this like a upper deck? Or
No, isn't it? It's like a hobby store.
Wow.
But there's all these boxes of cards from like, $20, $40 to like all the way up. So there's a case of cards, 10 boxes, 2018, some special set, Ohtani's rookie year. And my son sees it, my wife does as well. We say, why is that case $78,400? Just right there. I mean, it's behind glass, but so are all the cases, basically. They had a lot of security, by the way, to their credit, because they have things that are $80,000, and it's LA. I mean,
damn,
it's just like $80,000.
That's interesting.
So $78,000, and my wife and my son too were like, why is that case $78,000? And the people are like super knowledgeable, like, because there's certain Ohtani cards that have been pulled out of that are worth like $400,000 plus. So it's a gamble, but there's $500,000 cards, there's $600,000 cards. Doesn't mean it's in it, but there's $400,000 or $500,000 cards. So it's just kind of fascinating to see the way that people like consume this.
That's interesting.
So we got some money for cards. We dropped off my ticket stubs. We bought a couple of packs and small boxes for Jones. I didn't buy anything. Every time I do this with my 7-year-old, I buy nothing because he's so consumed by it all. I can't take any time for myself. So I drove there for 2 ticket stubs to be dropped off.
You shoot down. What time do you leave? Saturdays, I'm going to tell you something about your Southern California trip on Saturday.
I always have bad ideas with this.
Saturdays are in my opinion, it's arguably the worst day to drive.
Is it worse than Sunday?
If you, not even close.
Really?
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday, not even close. If you leave at let's call it 10 a.m. on a Saturday from Los Angeles, California to San Diego, California, you are screwed.
That's what I noticed on the way up.
Until about like 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, and then it lighten up again.
That was my mistake. I did, I think, a little too early on the way back.
What time did you come back?
From like 3
it's
to
not
6:30.
It's not good.
As opposed to like leaving at 5 and I would have been back at like 7:15.
Should have went and had dinner somewhere, something like that.
But then we were meeting people back here for dinner. We were up against it. It was my wife was not thrilled.
She wasn't happy
because of the timing. She's like, just promise me we'll be back here at 5 p.m. I'm like, no problem. Couldn't. And we get back at like 6:30 and we had to leave at 6:45 for dinner. So it wasn't great, but we made it back for that. So that was my Saturday.
All right.
Next time I try to do something like that, I'll talk to you first.
Give me a heads up.
Seriously.
I've made that drive enough here.
Now, you weren't up there on Saturday, correct?
I was not up there on Saturday.
But you were up there part of the day yesterday.
Part of the day yesterday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is next time
took the train down this morning.
Yeah, next time I'll meet you at the Burbank Car.
That's it. By the way, that'd be a cool store to go to. Even somebody that doesn't have any idea of any of that stuff is. Yeah, it's good.
It's really interesting. What'd you do over the weekend?
I was here for most of the weekend. Did a lot of chilling with some fam. Yesterday kind of spent some time near the beach area, not necessarily at the beach or on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Did a little dog. There's a dog beach in Del Mar. I took my dog there on
Love Dog Beach
on Monday. No, on Sunday. It's
with dogs.
It's a busy. I mean, anytime right now, especially Memorial Day weekend, you go anywhere, any of these places. But I will tell you something. San Diego's so much easier, our beaches, than some of these other beaches in the entire state of California. Like it's our beaches are much more accessible than some of these other spots.
Easy access. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
you're gonna find parking. You're gonna find all that.
I do like Dog Beach. I'm always intimidated to go there ever since like my dog passed. Like, am I allowed to go there just without a dog?
1,000%.
Is that you can go there, or it's intimidating?
No, just go walk.
I just feel like everyone's got a dog.
It's not like going to Chuck E. Cheese if you don't have kids. It's fine.
Just as an individual.
That one would be odd.
Yeah, like just pull up in your white van and just like hang out.
Yeah.
Like in the corner.
Don't mind the garbage bags for windows.
Take your dog to the dog beach. That one's fine.
Even if you don't have a dog.
I mean, even if you don't, you could still go.
Should we do this again tomorrow?
Tomorrow. Let's tie up this 3-game set against Philadelphia tonight.
Actually, by the time we're on the air tomorrow, Phillies and Padres will be wrapping up. This is the afternoon game. And we'll have Kevin Acey with us post-game after the series ends tomorrow, right here on Schaefer and Sliwa. If you missed anything today, you can go to sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app. Back tomorrow at 3 p.m. And for Brent and Alan, I'm John. You've been listening to Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Peace.